day is the best I've ever had. And I mean that. Like, every day I feel like is the best day of my life.
Your life is nothing.
I love my life. I have so much fun every single day.
You're bagging.
I love my life. I have so much fun. Everyone hates me. I have an emptiness in my life. Oh man, there's something huge missing from my life. I need a large group of friends. All I do is sit around drinking gin all day. Ladies and gentlemen, I play mobile games. Yes, I spend money on mobile games. I love my life. I have so much fun every single day.
You're bagging.
I love my life. I have so much fun. Everyone hates me. I love my life. I have so much fun every single day.
You're bagging.
I love my life. I have so much fun. Everyone hates me.
You're still bagging for $10 donations and $20 donations to pay your electric bill, to pay your fucking rent, alright? I get it. I'd hate me too. See you, Phil. Have a good one.
Can I eat a lot or much of red meat or shellfish because I have gout? Gout is a disease that makes my acid levels much higher than most people's. And so if I eat certain foods, my acid level elevates, skyrockets, and then I get all giant swelling and incredible pain in my joint.
Hey. Gout walk. Little gin, little door, that shrimp make the gout hot. I can feel it in my toes, let's go, it's the gout walk. Stomach cold, so froze, you know I got the gout rocks. Take a 20-minute break, I'ma hit him with a gout walk. Sushi day, I'ma tear it up. Oh shit, here comes another flare up. DoorDash me a little aloe vera, a bowl of penne and a side of marinara. I could introduce you to the gout. Fatty foods every time when I go out. Bitch, I'm too fast, why I pass out? Where the cherry juice at? Need a glass now. Yeah. Gotta go and see the doc. Man, it's like a couple blocks. Hold up, another $100 shot. Now I'ma hit him with a walk. Hey, what walk? Gout walk. Little gin, little door, that shrimp make the gout hot. I can feel it in my toes, let's go, it's the gout walk. Stomach cold, so froze, you know I got the gout rocks. Take a 20-minute break, I'ma hit him with a gout walk. Little gin, little door, that shrimp make the gout hot. I can feel it in my toes, let's go, it's the gout walk. Stomach cold, so froze, you know I got the gout rocks. Take a 20-minute break, I'ma hit him with a gout walk.
In medical school, we learned that gout is the king's disease.
Thank you all for showing up to the Saturday morning Style Atlas stream. As always, well, it's not as always, but you know, and just when I thought I was out, just when I was bored to tears of the guy, we have such a delightful week like we did this week. I couldn't believe it. This guy wouldn't stop freaking out about low income on his streams. LOL. I was getting so tired of all of the DSP eating segments and talking about the fucking goals and looking at fast food menus for an ungodly amount of time. But now we get to yell about how much money we are and aren't making. Isn't that cool? Isn't that fun? I'm so glad we do that. Once again, thank you all for showing up today. Very cool of you all. And before we even start, no WPIG 1651 tomorrow for Act the King at 8 p.m. It's not happening. They're doing King of the Ring today, and you'll all be sent over there after this. Of course, you guys don't want to miss King of the Ring. You're asking for a cat in the chat. No, I'm not doing that. I don't have them saved right now and available. Instead, we're going to watch this clip. Shout out to Poem's Future for the clip, because I'm not watching the Minecraft gameplay, and neither are any of you. And before we even get to it, I love the Bandicam at the top. It's been a long time since I saw a Bandicam watermark. I love it. I want to see more of it. I thought about putting a Bandicam watermark on this whole stream for the fuck of it, but I didn't want to crowd up the screen. Thank you, Jacob, for becoming a member of the Skeleton Gang, or as we call it, the 60 Skulls. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it, of course. So, if you guys recall, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, DSP was complaining about his, how nobody liked his stupid Cologne idea, and I called it one of the worst ideas he's ever had. He is still seething about that, and that's what this clip is.
That's right. You guys did not get to see my Cologne review idea, because disgusting negative people had to crap all over it and immediately make fun of it and say it wasn't going to work. So I said, well, forget it then. I'm not going to bother with it. If you're going to be negative and not even give it a chance and allow it to be tried once, then screw you. Then you don't get it. I'm not wasting time. You're already complaining before the idea's even seen the light of day. You're going to be so toxic about it. Well, then, you know, tough shit. So now you don't get it. Now you'll never get it. For those.
But that is exactly, and why it's so funny to me is that's exactly what he's always asking for, is it not? Isn't he Mr. Feedback? Isn't he the guy who is constantly berating his chat because they're not giving him criticism, or they're not giving him new ideas for him to use? So when they finally do it, when they finally have the balls to say, DSP, this idea, it sounds like shit. Nobody is going to enjoy this. Nobody will support this. They're not going to like this. They're not going to love this. He seethes about it. To this day, 2 weeks later, he's still upset. It's still living rent-free in his head. Thank you, Vaporware 336 for the 5, saying sorry this ain't 1600. Well, you can make up for it later. It's fine. 100 for every year, I believe. I've watched your content during your 17-year legacy, but it's dangerous to go alone. So take this. Well, thank you. I appreciate the 5. You just have to make up the other 1595 later. It's fine.
You don't know. So I had an idea.
We'll just keep it on your tab.
In the last, few years, I've started to have a cologne collection, I would say. I like wearing them all the time. Usually I wear cologne every day. All right. I like smelling good. I just do. I can afford it. It's fun to do. I have some colognes that are really expensive. I have some colognes that are really cheap. I have some colognes that are like in between. I go by smell. I don't go by value or cost. I'm not wearing cologne to be like affluent. I'm wearing it to smell good. Okay.
Okay. But he doesn't understand how weird that is, to get online every day and beg and complain that he has no money to pay his bills. You guys have to support. Obviously, this is his business as well as his hobby, so he has to do things that make sense for the business. But then he's going out of his way, and his own admission, to spend an amount of money, some of them expensive, some of them cheap, to smell good for nobody all day long. It's just a weird comparison to complain about not having money and then spend money on such a frivolous thing for, again, nobody, because nobody sees DSP on a daily basis. No, like his wife, maybe, if you believe what he says. So we're just spending money to smell good for ourselves, which is fine if you don't get online and complain for money all day, or beg rather.
So, basically,
and it can be fun to wear cologne, to smell it, to, like, if this is your hobby, if this is something that you're actually interested in, sure, fine, whatever. But you can't get online and complain that you don't have money. Like that is the entire crux of the problem.
Oh, you can stack chests. Well, that's good. Do that. Thank you, Papa Vera. So
Thank you, Papa Vera.
I said, for something different, instead of me always like reviewing fast food, why don't I review like a cologne?
You learned we could stack chests. How cool.
For the first time and test it and see what I like. Or I could review cologne I already have. I could show you the bottle. I could tell you the cost. I could tell you the value, what I think of it. Oh, horrible idea. Worst idea ever. All right, well, fuck you then. You won't even let me do it once. You got to sit there and you got to shit on the idea before it's even happened. Then fuck you. I won't do it. I'll continue to eat fast food and you'll like it.
I'm going to continue to eat fast food as a punishment to you, and you'll like it. Very, very odd. Very strange. But he would have, again, he would have been absolutely floored if he spent a week or two hyping up this new goal, telling people all of his plans for it and how they were going to enjoy it and it was going to be something new, just for him to do it the first time and everybody complain in the chat that they're bored. I could see the content that he would be making right now in my head. That's exactly how it would play out. And we'd be getting an entirely different segment of him complaining. I don't know what he expected from his audience when he genuinely does have a bad idea, like he does so often. That's why he doesn't share them typically, or he blames them on Cat. That's my favorite, by the way. He should have said that the Cologne idea was Cat's again.
It's that simple. People are so toxic on the internet and want to be dicks to me. Well, then you get nothing. You know, I come up with an idea. If you don't like it, then you won't get it. Tough. Okay.
All right. So obviously you were all seething and upset because you missed out on that top-notch content there. I have another short clip before we get into the actual rants for the day. I saw this and it brought a smile to my face because he's just so upset all the time. Everything that this guy sees or reads instantly fires off negative emotions in his brain. I'm convinced that happiness is not something that he experiences if there is not a $ attached to it. So here is a chat interaction that he had, I think, this week. I couldn't tell you the day because it's out of context. These damn dirty detractors, dude.
So what's on everyone's mind tonight? You guys ready to drive and chill? I hope so. Cam Dando with a $2 super chat says, if you had talents, what would they be? My top talent would be accepting money from fools on the internet who think that they're insulting me, but instead I keep their money and I laugh at them. That would be a really good talent to have, but sadly, I guess I just don't have it. Thanks for the $2 there, dummy. Cam, he says...
Which is a very odd response because it then makes it sound like he doesn't already regularly do this, which of course implies the exact opposite, which is that he doesn't take money from trolls and he does read them all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you can see... now that this was not an insult and the guy was just freaking out.
It wasn't an insult. I play guitar, drums, and illustrate. It's not that hard to answer. Yes, but the problem is you phrased it in a way that's negative and insulting. You said, if I had any talent, what would it be? You didn't say, hey, if you wish you had a talent you don't have now, what would it be? You literally phrased it to say, I have no talent now. It's an insult. Even if you didn't intend it to be, it's still an insult. So again, nice try.
Just needlessly difficult. He can't even give the benefit of the gout to his own viewers who are legitimately sending him money. Because if you recall, according to DSP, these are the lies that he tells. This is the story he's weaved. Super chats are non-charge backable. So this person did genuinely give DSP multiple dollars to have his question answered. 2 separate, super chats of 2, just to be called the troll because he didn't properly word the question. DSP couldn't, think that maybe this person doesn't have English as their first language or is in a rush and just didn't think about it, was so giddy and hyped up to talk to his favorite streamer that he fucked up the question. Oh, absolutely not. DSP would never do that. That's an insult. You're a troll, obviously, despite the money you're giving me. Sound good? Sounds good to me.
You guys know I'm a variety creator.
But the actual creme de la creme for the week is, of course, DSP. And we're going to watch pretty much all of it. There's like an hour and a half of DSP ranting here. There's no short stream today. We got all of the short things out at the beginning, hence why I came on then instead of now. The real creme de la creme for the week was, of course, these horribly long RPGs that DSP is playing. And I mean, I say horribly because it's DSP. They're not working out, as everybody saw coming from 100 miles away, as they have been for the past 2 years. Nobody wants to watch DSP play 50 hours of any game. He's absolutely insufferable. Nobody can stomach that much of the same gameplay from the guy, because while he doesn't have anything to say at the beginning of the playthrough, he most definitely doesn't have anything to say at the end either. And he's decided to take on all of these lengthy playthroughs anyway and blame his audience like he typically does. So it's that time of the cycle again where we're RPG overload and people are burnt out, this, that, and the other, of course. Thank you, Penitent Sin, for the 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
You know that.
Yo, and some very cool people got them.
I don't just sit here and play one game nonstop for 2 weeks. So when you're looking at a game that's going to be a 40 to 60 hour playthrough, you always have to understand something.
that will mean that's a 2-month playthrough for me. And there's not much I can do about it, because if I did sit here and played the same game for 2 weeks, attendance, engagement, and support would plummet, because I'm a variety creator. I'm not just Mr. RPG, Mr. FPS, Mr. Fighting Game, Mr. FromSoft. I'm the jack of all trades and the master of none. So because of that, I have to juggle.
Well, he is master of the bag, though. I think he's cutting himself short here. He is not Mr. FPS or Mr. RPG. He's Mr. Bag. He's Mr. Support the stream if you want the gameplay. That's who he is. If you're willing to call that a variety content creator, be my guest. But he is the a master beggar. Thank you, Demi Fiend, for the 2. DSP has been a little what the fuck is that? What is that? That's supposed to be a this year hard POS. Great. Thank you, Demi Fiend. I'm too dented, I guess. I missed it. Yo, and Deuce Falco has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Deuce Falco. I appreciate it.
Right? And to be honest, that's why I've had the longevity that I've had. That's why the guy who started videos back in 2008 is still able to make a living making similar videos in 2025, because I have kept the variety going. Right now, I'm doing a podcast. Then we're doing Blueprints. Tonight, we're doing Minecraft. Tomorrow, we're going to do Clare Obscure
So much
and
variety.
Night. Then there's going to be fighting games on Friday. Every stream, you get a different audience. And the audience that likes that particular game will show up, engage, and support with that game, but may not show up for the other. So
where is this different audience? You still haven't told me. Why is it every time I tune into a DSP chat, it's the same like 10 people in chat and half of them are trolls? Why is that the case? I want to believe the story that DSP tells. I try desperately for it to make sense. I try and connect the connections that he does not, in order for the story to be told correctly. And it doesn't add up. There is no way possible that the things that he says make sense, given the information we have. But he's so delusional that he's convinced he has multiple hundreds of people that tune in, sometimes on the night stream, sometimes on the day stream. No way, brother. No way.
even though you look at my stream and you say, oh my God, Phil only has 150 viewers on his podcast and his videos of the playthrough are only getting 200, 300 views. Yes, but you have to understand that that is separate from my overall viewership. My overall viewership is each game has a pocket of viewers that comes to enjoy it. And they'll come back when there's another game that they're interested in, you see? So you have to understand that. And a lot of people don't, all right? The reason I'm here is because...
And Seven's right in chat, like Jack's Raxer only comes for fighting games. That's true. Papa Vera only comes for Minecraft. But these examples are, I believe, memorable because they are so unique. They are few and far between, at least as far as we're made aware in the chat, which is very important to a stream style that DSP does, this interactive streaming environment he claims to be creating, right?
Because of the variety. Because some people say, well, if you just played Clare Obscure nonstop for 2 weeks, you would have beaten it, and then no one would be bored, and you wouldn't have the problems you're having right now. Yes, and by the time that the first week ended, 80% of my viewership would have complained, tuned out, not come back, and I would have went out of business. That's not an exaggeration. People are here for variety.
What's up, Quiet Engine? How you doing, brother? Glad you could make it.
And always has been. I can't just play one game nonstop for 2-3 weeks. So because of that, do I play lengthy games? That's even question number one. Do I even bother playing them? Because when in a case of a game like Clare Obscure, I absolutely love this game. But now when I play it, I get people yelling at me, telling me, oh, I did it all wrong. What do you mean I did it all wrong? Oh, well, you're doing side content. That's boring. All we want is story.
Wait a minute. And I always, he does this. He did this with Final Fantasy VII as well, and it really irked me then. He immediately jumps to the extreme when people tell him they give him the infamous feedback that he's always asking for. When they give him this feedback and they tell him, DSP, we want to see more story. You can't do side content for fucking 4 hours in a row and not make any sort of actual progress, because inevitably in these games, side quests typically amount to nothing but additional XP and maybe an item that you'll never use, right? We want to see something actually happening. This gameplay on loop with you saying nothing isn't doing it for me. He freaks out and goes, oh, so I'm not allowed to play any of the side content. They want to just see the story. I have to rush through the game. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to jump to the extremes, or rather he doesn't have to jump to the extremes. but it's anything to be the victim with this guy.
Back in the day, when I was a full-time YouTuber, okay, before I became a streamer.
Well, and Radical Jaws is right in chat. I feel like we have this conversation about lengthy games every 1 to 3 months. We do. We actually do. This is the DSP cycle as we know it as of late. We just did this with Like a Guy, what, last year in the summer? Literally. And then even earlier this year with other games that I can't particularly name, but I know it happens. Yes, this is the cycle. At some point, DSP has to figure out what the answer is, and everybody has been telling him for at least the past year. At least. When RPG Overload was happening, people screamed answers at him. All sorts of a variety of answers, a variety style even. And he picked none of them and just continued to do what he wanted to do because that's how he operates.
My methodology was, on release day, run to GameStop, buy all the new releases, bring them home and unbox them, immediately start playing them,
Declan, I don't know if I included
rush
that,
through
but
the game
yeah.
as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Do not take time to take in the scenery. Do not explore. Do not do side content. Literally, full speed to the finish line. Because if I could be the person who would play through that new game as fast as I possibly could, okay?
Okay, Get day
and
one
then
views.
get that playthrough out fully on YouTube,
Right.
I could be on to the next game, and I could trade in that game right away to get almost maximum value back when you could actually trade in games for high value. Those times are long gone. And I could be on to the next. This was the way I operated on YouTube. And this got me incredible notoriety, huge views, and made me Mr. New Playthrough. People always came to
Mr. New Playthrough. I love that title for him. Mr. New Playthrough. Because I've always been a big fan of the conveyor belt style that he operated his channel on for so long. Mr. New Playthrough.
DSP Gaming, because they knew, dude, within 2 days of a new game out, Phil beat it. And we can see the whole playthrough and judge for ourselves if we want to play it or not.
But it's not a full playthrough. It's not something that you can actually judge. That's where the issues start to arise. Anybody that's informed on video games and how complex they've become, again, if you're willing to say that, just playing through the story is not indicative of the quality of the game. And if that's all you've done, I'm not convinced that you have any sort of authority to speak on the matter in such a way to inform people. That's just not the case. There is so much more inside content in the onlines and the unlockables, in the this, the that's, the challenges, whatever. You have to do at least some of them. I'm not saying you have to do a 100% playthrough in order to speak on a game, but you have to do some of it.
This is great. That was my catch. That is what I was known for on the internet. Okay. But what ended up happening was that over the years of, say, 2010, 2011, 2012, the internet started to push back against me and said,
and some guys, right, who's watching a full playthrough to see if they want to buy a game. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't like this methodology.
I've definitely bought games after watching a full playthrough online, like way back in the day, but it typically wasn't like a story-based style game
anymore. We don't like the way you conduct yourself, because what's happening is you're rushing through games so fast. You're not seeing the real game.
Not real.
You're only seeing this one very narrow portion of the game that's narrative, and you're skipping everything else. So how can you fairly judge a game, give an opinion on it, review it, and tell us if you like it or not, if you are literally running for the finish line and skipping a vast part of the content of each and every game that you play?
Yes,
okay?
That's what I said. Oh, we got to take a big triumphant sip. We just spent all that time explaining.
To that methodology, I changed it. Over the years, I evolved, particularly when I became a streamer in 2017. I said, well, if we're going to do these live streams and they're interactive, then it's okay if I take my time. Because if I take my time, we can enjoy the game and react to it together. We can have conversation about it live. It's more of a social aspect rather than me just sitting here playing the game offline for myself. So let's do that.
Thank you, Penitent Sin, for the 5 gifted. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And we did. And my playthroughs became more lengthy, more drawn out, seeing more side content. I replayed old games that I had rushed through previously, this time doing more full and complex playthroughs that I really enjoy.
Great. So he just doubled back on games that he already made money off of to play them once again in a more satisfactory way and get more money. That sounds like a totally robust and meaningful addition to the channel. Of course.
And so everything changed for the better. But now what's happened is culture has changed. Everyone wants instant gratification.
If you make a shitty product the first time, you can resell a less shitty product a second time because obviously the first one was unsatisfactory. This is like business 101. This is, he's putting that college degree to work here. I'll tell you that.
Everyone wants everything right away without having to wait a long time for it. And people want to talk.
Oh, is this the younger generation thing? I didn't mean to stop it right there.
I had rushed through previously, this time doing more full and complex playthroughs that I really enjoy. And so everything changed for the better. But now what's happened is culture has changed. Everyone wants instant gratification. Everyone wants everything right away without having to wait a long time for it. And people want to talk about a game for literally 3 days and then move on to the next. Clare Obscure was hot for a week, but if you didn't know all about it in the first week, no one cares about it week 2. But wait a minute, it's a 60-hour game. How could I ever get through the whole game in a week? Too bad, we're on to the next already. That's how gaming is now.
But that's not how gaming is. That's how content creation is. That's how trending video games work in an online realm to the capacity the DSP works in. That's not how gaming works on a personal level. And people enjoy games at a much slower rate than I'm going to call it the news cycle really lets on. You would think that DSP, a real gamer, would understand this, that just because it's not the talk of the town on the internet doesn't mean that literally nobody cares about it anymore and it's not being played. That's not how these things work, and it never has been. I don't know how he's convinced himself that the talk online is the only thing that matters.
That's not how it used to be.
Thank you, Dean Lawliette, for the 5, saying Dropout, more like Crash Out. Oh... If someone made that joke, I'm sorry, I just got here. They did not. They did not. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 5, Dean Lawliette.
But that's just how it is. So now, when a lengthy game comes out, and I'm thinking to myself, well, everyone's telling me to play it. Everyone says I don't skip it because it's going to be the biggest game ever. All right, I'll try it. And then I play it at my own pace. We're enjoying it. Oh, you're doing it wrong.
Well, his pace, and then that's another problem that he has that's entirely unique to him. His pace is astronomically slower than other content creators that do a similar style. Other people are capable of doing their shoutouts and reading the chat while also simultaneously providing content or commentary over the gameplay. He's incapable of doing that, which artificially inflates his playthrough playtime. Like I said, at an astronomical amount. Nobody wants to see an online playthrough that's 48 hours long if it's not something like a 100% playthrough. It has to be efficient or you are genuinely wasting time, regardless of how fun you personally think that it is. And DSP apparently not a big fan of my rant there.
What do you mean? Well, everyone else already beat it. I've only played it for a week. Yeah, it's already done. Everyone did 60 hours in it. They're done. What do you mean?
Yeah, and all of the begging breaks and all of the I'm going to stretch my legs and I need to go to the bathroom for the 5th time since we've started. I'm going to go check on my wife. She just got home. Like, other streamers and content creators don't typically do this, and that's why they're able to get through gameplay so much faster. It's actually just a world of difference in how much more competent they are at content than he is. But it's obviously the viewer's fault that he takes ages.
No. So, in regards to Clare Obscure, here's what's going on.
What's up, Happy Lula? I am doing well. Thank you.
Incrementally, the character who serves as your vehicle for the game, Esquire, you ride him and he's fast travel basically because he goes over the overworld map. You don't have to fight when you're on his back. He at first can only go over the ground. Then after a while, he can break crystals to go to new areas. Then he can swim. Then he can start to swim through coral. Eventually, he's going to be able to dive and jump and fly and do all this other stuff. Each time that you get to a milestone in the story, he gains a new ability, and then all this new content opens up in the game.
Right.
So each and every time that this has happened, I explore the map and I do content. There's an optional dungeon over here, an optional super boss over here. Now, normally in the game, you wouldn't be able to do all the content because it's tough. For example, there's super dungeons that have opened up that I walked into them level 30 and the enemies are level 70. Whoa. Well, you shouldn't be able to beat that, but I can. Why can you beat it? Well, let's see.
So were those sections the absolute slog sessions where he fought one boss for an extended period of time and didn't have an enjoyable time whatsoever and was complaining? Were those sections? Because if that's the case, then I'm already starting to see the issue. I've seen those clips. Those are incredibly terrible gameplay clips.
Because, FYI, I've played turn-based RPGs my whole life, so I'm good at them. And I played fighting games. So why does that factor in? Because in fighting games, you need incredibly good hand-eye coordination. You need to be able to do timed button presses and joystick taps in order to counter what your opponent is coming at you with.
Right.
So how does that factor into Clare Obscure? Well, the combat system has a parry system. If you're playing this game and you run into something that's really tough, as long as you can read its attacks and parry by pressing a button when it hits you, you can literally absorb all its damage and then turn it back against it with a counterattack. Essentially, if you're good at parrying, you're invincible in Clare Obscure.
And that's great. That's fine. And if I recall correctly, he compares this to Elden Ring or whatever. And again, cool, great. Your main focus is not to just defy the odds and do whatever you want, though. Your job is to entertain. And if you're spending an extended period of time on the same boss doing fucking tickle dick damage for absolutely zero numbers because you're vastly underleveled, okay? Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to see that you struggle through the same boss for so long simply because you're too stubborn to walk away. That doesn't make for good content. That's the issue. That's the problem there.
No kidding. It's just true. You will actually beat pretty much everything in the game if you're good at parrying. So I go into a level 70 dungeon at level 30 and I start winning. And people are like, that doesn't make any sense. Literally no other person who played this game walked into this dungeon at your level and was able to complete it. Well, I can.
I don't think anybody fucking said nobody was able to complete it. DSP, what's true for everybody else is true for you. There is a small Asian kid that is better than you at this, I promise. Statistically, it just has to be the case. There's nothing I can do about it, okay? You're not unique in this way, I promise. You're not him.
Because I'm different.
You never have
Do you remember
been.
when I played Elden Ring? And we finally walked into the open world map for the first time. And right there in front of you is that knight on the horse with a big ass weapon. And everyone said, "Law, we'll take him on," and got completely trounced by him and said, "Fuck this, we'll go back later." I said, "No, I'm going to beat that guy right now." And it took me like an hour and a half, but I did it.
There's the problem right there. He literally just stated what the entire issue is in that sentence, and he will not recognize that for one fucking second. I can tell by his dumbass face right now, it's completely gone over his head, the issue. He took an hour and a half of other people's time to make no progress on something that he could come back and do later after he's leveled up, and it'll be no inconvenience to him, and it'll be done in about 5 to 10 minutes. That's the problem. You're taking an hour and a half because of your pride instead of coming back and doing it for, in 5 to 10 minutes for your audience. All right, guys, that should be the end of the fucking stream. DSP should have put it all together there and we could have moved on positively. But like I said, it's not going to happen. Demi-Fiend, thank you so much for the 2. Why YouTube hasn't banned him for cliff comment. He did say that this week. Yes, jump off the cliff. I hope I included that in this segment, or if it's in the next one. I don't remember. But I hope I did. Thank you, Demi-Fiend, for the 2.
On that very first stream of Elden Ring,
I'll see if I can find it.
Persevered. I learned the pattern. I beat that knight. And that was an incredible challenge, but that was an awesome way to open up that challenging playthrough.
And thank you, Aussie Turtles Gaming, for the 17 months in the 60 skulls. Thank you. Saying good day, mate. Hope you're well. Well, good day to you. Thank you.
To show that I had the skill level to overcome. That's exactly how I'm playing Clare Obscure, okay? In Clare Obscure, when this side content is opening up, and most people say, fuck it, it's too hard, I'll come back later. I was like, nope, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to see if I can do it. And I've been able to do it all. I think there's only literally one super boss and one other area that it was just so instant death and the health pools were too big. There was no way I was going to be able to beat them. So I said, all right, I'll come back to those later. But for the most part, I've done everything else.
Okay, so his claim of I was able to do everything, I'm a god, I'm the best, has now changed to, well, there was a couple of exceptions where I didn't have the wherewithal to stick it out, so I'm not going to do it. What was the point of the fucking segment? You came here to suck your own dick and tell everybody how great you were and that they're dumb because they're not enjoying your greatness. And then you go out of your way to be like, well, I'm actually not that cool, right? I actually kind of sucked ass over here and gave up. So everybody lost. Congratulations. Thank you, Vaporware 336 for the 5, saying, careful Atlas. If you bring up Asian people better or being better than this guy, you'll activate Dave's post-Tokido stress disorder. Forever 4th place, LOL. Yes, and he does have a very strange relationship with Asians based off his previous comments. Pandali was not Asian, by the way.
Okay?
Thank you for the
People
5,
are telling me I did it wrong. Well, now because you did that, you're over-leveled. Well, wait a minute.
Yes, that is how that works, right? If you do all of the side content, typically you are a little over-leveled and you have a couple of items that might make your build a little OP. That is the benefit to doing the side content.
And I only did the main story, then you would have complained that I missed all the side content of the game and I rushed through it. Hence, I don't really know, I don't have a good idea of the game and the playthrough sucked because I just rushed and I didn't take my time. You know, like you guys told me back in the day. And everyone said that those playthroughs sucked, right? So I changed myself in the last 15 years to be a different kind of creator per your feedback. Now all of a sudden that's wrong. I should have just turboed through this game apparently.
See, and this is what I was saying. This is the jumps to extremes. Instead of just acknowledging that he should be coming back later when he's properly leveled, he's decided that everybody has told him he's not allowed to do side content. Absolutely asinine. That's why there's no point in talking to this guy whatsoever. The feedback is all useless to him. Thank you, Orphan of Costco, always a big fan of the name, for the 5, saying leaves out that he is playing on easy, which has a way bigger parry window and is basically idiot-proof. Now, when you guys say he's playing on easy, do you mean that he's playing on normal, the developer-intended difficulty that is typically made easier for normies, or is he actually playing on the easier difficulty below the medium? That's the question, because I'm a hard to very hard difficulty enjoyer myself. But I think it's misleading if you say it's on easy and it's actually on normal. I would call it easy, but I want to be honest about it.
Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to do because every time it seems I play something, I'm somehow doing it wrong. Even when I'm listening to direct feedback, I'm somehow doing it wrong. I don't get it, okay? Now, in the case of Clare Obscure, if you believe that doing the side content actually ruins the game, you have
people
the
are
right
saying he's switching. Is that true? Because I don't have respect for switching personally. I hate to gatekeep video games, but I'm a firm believer you lock the fuck in for that difficulty. If you're not gonna do it from the beginning on the one difficulty, don't play. Personally, that's also ruined many a playthrough of mine, so it's not the best way to live. But
to that opinion, but you should take that opinion and you should direct it towards the parties who are culpable for that. The game devs. If the side content of the game is actually not meant to be played, then go complain to them and say, why is it in there? Right? If by doing the side content, I become so overleveled that nothing in the game will be fun anymore, then why are you complaining to me?
They've probably designed the game in such a way that they don't expect people to, god parry their way through end game dungeons half the level as the enemies. That's just not how games are going to be balanced. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. If you just happen to be better at a game type or you're playing on an easier difficulty so you're having less of an issue and you do all of the impossible challenges, you're going to be OP, which again is fine if you're doing a solo playthrough to have fun. But DSP's job is to make entertaining content. And that's not interesting, especially for a first playthrough. That's the problem.
Does it make any sense? Does it?
It does. Thank you, Young Beat 666 for the 5, saying he drives me up the wall when he says, you guys told me back in the day, like it's the same viewers from 15 years ago. This dude retains no viewership. Wrong. You're felted, idiot. Thank you for the 5, I guess. But if you recall, he made $1,600 yesterday from some dipshit named Thomas, who's been watching for 16 years, you guys. It was very robust and meaningful. So you're felted. Thank you, Young Beat 666.
Playing the game that was presented to me, I'm playing the parts that open up in the story as I approach them. Hell, that super dungeon was actually right there in line with the story. It wasn't even like, oh, I went out of my way to go find it. It was literally right there. Now, it showed danger red, but it was right in front of me. Let me give it a shot. Oh, look, I just beat it. And now I'm over leveled. Well, how is that my fault? Because I'm too good at the game? Literally what you're saying is because I'm so good at the game, the playthrough sucks.
So basically what you're saying is because I'm the best streamer to ever do it and I'm basically a god, I'm also simultaneously the worst and you hate me? Okay. All right. Fuck you.
That's exactly what you're saying. I'm so
Right,
good
I agree.
at Clare Obscure,
I agree, dude.
my playthrough's bad because nothing's beating me. That's really what you're saying. It's if you had played the game and you were finding all this trouble and adversity and you were raging.
You guys in chat are asking who Thomas is with his $1,600. I don't have a clip of it. I will not show it because it's not important or interesting, really. But I don't know. I don't know who Thomas is. I genuinely don't.
And
that's all I have. He gobbled DSP's dick in the super chat, and DSP made $1,600. Some people say it's fake, that it was orchestrated in order to do the marathon when he wanted to do it on the first to do the Mario Kart thing. And if you want to believe that, be my guest. I don't know who Thomas is.
Basically, you were
all right, back
sucking
to
at
the
the game.
scheduled
Then we could
programming,
make more
guys.
memes.
Come on. No derailing.
Right? Then we could do clips and we could put them on X and on TikTok and on Reddit. And we could have millions of views making fun of how bad you are at the game. But you're not doing that, so your playthrough sucks.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Yes, every one of you out there. Fuck you. Anyone who says this kind of dumb shit, go fuck yourself. You're a fucking waste of my time and you're a waste of life if that's all you think. Because Darkseid feels good at something, his playthrough sucks. No, you're a loser.
You.
If all you care about is toxicity and failure, and
It's
all
you.
you want to do is bring someone down because they're good at something, you're the fucking problem. Not me. My playthrough doesn't suck. My playthrough is one of the best playthroughs of Clare Obscure because I'm showing you that anyone who has skill can actually beat any portion of this game at any time.
I hate to interrupt to mid-rant because this is absolute Kino from the guy, but nobody needed that playthrough. It's just inherently true that if you can absorb attacks and take 0 damage, or you can not get hit in every encounter, you can beat the game at any level, at any skill level, and do all of the content. Nobody needed to see this playthrough, and they most definitely didn't need to see it from a guy that's incapable of doing any commentary that's worth a shit. That's not his role in the ecosystem. He's not him. That's not what his audience is after. It's obvious.
All you need to do is time the parries. Tell me another fucking content creator who's made a playthrough like that of that game.
There will be entire hitless runs, I promise you. That's what people do. This is a category of content.
Name one singular one. I'd love to hear it. So because I'm doing something differently, better than everyone else, and you can't make fun of me for it, you're mad. Too fucking bad.
You're mad. LOL. LOLC, the idiot. The quiet engine. So he's ranting to his audience that watch as opposed to anyone normal person who just doesn't know he exists. Absolutely. The bit that never makes sense about a DSP rant that I always seem to fail to remember myself because it's always true. He's complaining to the people who do actually watch and support. These are the people who do the thing he's asking them to do. And they're the ones that get yelled at. I love to see it. You do. Cell Shader, thank you so much for the 2, saying DSP is too good at games and it makes me mad. And that's what people have been saying about DSP basically the whole time he's been on the internet. 17 years of being the best at video games and getting hated for it. It's truly an unfair life he lives.
Go fucking jump off a cliff. Because that's about the value that you have if that's the kind of person you want to be. You're a toxic individual on the
Go jump off a cliff if you're a toxic individual. That's for you.
internet who only cares when someone's in suffering and misery. That's fucked up. Seriously. What is wrong with you? If that's your mentality.
And this is over a video game, guys. This is over the fact that he plays side quests in a video game.
Now, let's continue positively.
Let's continue positively.
Okay? What I want to do moving forward is actually figure out, do I play lengthy games? Because I don't see a way to do it and keep attention on me, to be honest. I feel like the modern gaming industry, you literally only get, sadly,
right,
a week to talk about a game. After
You can talk about a game for as long as you want until the end of your days. I can talk to anybody all day long about Fallout New Vegas, and I have in the past. I could do it forever if I wanted to, and if they would listen. They don't. They usually walk away. But I could, and no one can stop you. What is he talking about?
that, it's absolutely true that everyone's on to the next topic, on to the next trend, on to the next thing. This is why I've told you guys for years, I'm apprehensive about actually playing lengthy games. Okay? I don't know what else to do.
I don't even know what else to do.
Because I don't know how to make those playthroughs viable. I don't know how to make them work. Even if I had rushed through Clare Obscure and only done the story, people would have said the playthrough sucked because you didn't do the content. So now I beat the content that's challenging and I master the game, and people say your playthrough sucks. I think we see a problem here, and the problem isn't me. The problem is you.
Dude, imagine that. The problem, once again, for the upteenth time, is now you. Once again, it's the audience's fault that his content isn't being watched. It's the audience's fault that he's not making money at his job. That all checks out, right?
Because you're so fucking toxic. People out there who are never satisfied at all, no matter what I do. I can't please those people. Do you understand? It doesn't matter how I play a game. They're always going to whine.
Yeah, yes, Penitenson. I used a job very loosely there to make a point. Come on.
And
you know what I
and
meant.
Complain about it. So instead of focusing on this giant crowd of losers on the internet who all they want to do is be toxic, I need to hone in on the factors that make people who actually like my content come by and engage and support with it. So the question is, what happened with Clare Obscure where we were getting that attention, we were getting that support, and all of a sudden, yesterday it fell off?
He's been playing the game for 48 hours. That's the problem. The problem is he spent 2 full days worth of game time. That's it. I don't know how many more problems you really need. Nobody is watching that shit, bro. Thank you, Scrumbly, for the 5. Really appreciate it. Phil is really tempting fate with the unhinged comments lately. Praying for a second Twitch incident. Maybe report him? LOL. I don't do reports. That's not my thing. Don't report anybody for anything. It's not for me, man. But yes, I love the DSP unhinged comments. That's what we do here. That's where we thrive at. I'm clearly having the best time. So as long he could keep this up forever. This is what I do it for.
What happened with Blueprints? That we were having people come by and say, listen, please make this a day stream because we love this game and we want the playthrough to continue and we'll support it. But then we're not getting that support anymore. What happened, right? What's the change? Is it because it's too long? In the case of Blueprints, it really, really baffles me because we're actually now unraveling the game-long mysteries that have been big questions the entire time. And now we're getting those answers and we're getting near the end of the game. We've opened 3 out of the 8 final doors. We're starting to piece together the clues we can do to solve the puzzles behind those doors. Right. And that's literally the end of the game.
You know, all of those mysteries, all of those story elements really do suffer from poor pacing. And DSP talks about this all of the time in video games, how these developers don't remember how to pace their games anymore, and they front load or back load their games, and it makes for bad gameplay, yada, 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 ruins the story. But what DSP is doing in his gameplay is exactly that. Any of the intrigue from the story and the characters, when you go multiple days without making any sort of progress, kind of gets separated from any sort of interest you have. Especially because he does play a variety of games. So not only are you getting 2 full play sessions of this fucking game that are 8 hours total of gameplay and it's all side content, but you also have to wait till next week to even see a piece of story content from the game because he doesn't play it until Monday now, right? That's what he's doing to his audience and then being upset that they don't care anymore, that this doesn't matter. You did that.
So what's next, right? Like why are we losing audience? Why are we losing support for Blueprints? I'm actually stumped. And this is what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, oh, your playthroughs suck, you're boring. It's not. That's the toxic peanut gallery being toxic.
And he doesn't even have an excuse for this either. This is, if you're saying bad things about my playthrough, oh, you're being fucking toxic, idiot. That's all that is. That's not an argument. That's not a defense. That you're just making villains out of people who disagree with your shit content. Thank you, Steez Master, for the 2, saying most mentally ill streams since King Snake, in my opinion. wild. Well, it's definitely the first one. It's the first best one since. Yes, but that's because he's been boring as shit since, really. We just been eating, dude. We did so much eating. Thank you for the two.
Those are the people who will never admit that I've done anything good. These are the people that will crap on me no matter what. The same people who said, oh, look at this, making fun of Phil playing Doom, when literally that's what everyone did in that room in Doom because it was full of explosive barrels. But you use me as the scapegoat and you take it out of context to get a meme for yourself and get millions of views of clickbait because you're a fucking lying loser.
Well, for the record, if everyone did that, I don't think that everybody else would be laughing. But also, if everyone did that same strategy, they also suck at Doom. For the record, if that was how they did it, log off, brother. The game wasn't meant for you.
Okay, I don't care about that.
We do.
What I care about is my core audience of people who will come by and actually engage and support me for these playthroughs. So the question is, what's changed? So I'd like feedback. I like genuine feedback. What do I do with Clare Obscure, and what do I do with Blueprints? I've invested over 30 hours into each game. I love the games. I feel that the playthroughs are great. So what?
Congratulations, you don't watch your own content, so it doesn't really fucking matter what playthroughs he thinks are good. I'm gonna be honest. In this case, with the questions he's asking, the answer he's looking for does not actually take into consideration how he feels. I think it should matter. I think he should like the games that he's playing and he should like the content he's doing. But for the answer he's looking for, that's irrelevant. And thank you, NWO News, for the 2, saying that Doom clip liquefied his bones like no other. He was pissed. He absolutely is still pissed about that. He hates when people say how bad he is at games on such a scale.
Going on that I need to change. Do I need to change the schedule? What do I do? I honestly don't have the answers, but it's frustrating because when I finally
I agree.
invest this much time into games because you guys asked me to. By the way, I didn't even know about Blueprints, had no idea it existed. You guys convinced me to play it. I love it. Now I'm at fault for playing it. Every time I play it, the toxic bitches, oh, why are you playing this? Go away. Come back when there's something that gets your really bad ADD attention span and stop bothering us because we're enjoying Blueprints. Okay?
Are we enjoying Blueprints? This is another game that he's got over 40 hours in. Yes, we have 2 games that have over 40-hour playthroughs and still ongoing. Okay, who the fuck is enjoying this? This is actually Grandpa solves puzzles in the afternoon. Anybody watching DSP play Blueprints, please go spend time with your grandparents. They would appreciate it, and it will be more fulfilling. I promise you. They won't even ask you for money. It might even be a relief.
To hear the toxic shit, we don't.
And thank you, Crooked Hound, for the 2, saying, well, once a core audience tries to pander to everyone, a very quick way to satisfy nobody, obviously. A strategy that DSP knows, where you know, exactly what you said, pander to everyone and then get nothing. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just tired of it. Tired of hearing this buzzing.
Toasty Butter, if your grandparents are trying to give you money and you don't absolutely need it, please turn it down. Don't take money from your grandparents.
Doesn't matter because those people never support my content anyway. So why do I have to hear it? It doesn't mean anything, right?
You get
it's
it in their will
noise
anyway.
to annoy all of us.
Very cool. Very cool.
So let's see what people have to say. We're gonna do some shout outs here. All right. Let's do some shout outs.
Time to do some shout outs.
We start off with Princess Luna, who did a $10 super chat. I feel like the day stream and night stream crowds are different. As far as long playthroughs go, I use the 3-episode rule to decide if I like a game or not. Okay.
Okay. Great. I like that this person's come up with a system. Very cool. I admire a good system in play.
So basically, you watch 3 episodes of a playthrough to decide if you like it or not, right? And that's the thing, like with these games, both Blueprints and with Clare Obscure, those playthroughs did well. I mean, like I said, I've been playing these games now for over.
I'm not showing DSP to my
hours.
grandparents. I don't want to ruin their existence.
The concern is when you've already invested that much time into a game, obviously you want to see the end, right? But it's like, am I shooting myself in the foot? Right? Am I? I don't know, right?
Am I? I don't know. He doesn't even sound sure he knows what he's talking about. Like genuinely unsure about what he just said himself is what that sounded like to me. It didn't sound like a genuine question about the topic at hand.
I don't know. Archmage says there's actually not much of Exposition 33 left. You could probably finish it in several more streams. Yeah, for what I'm going to understand, right? I think we're right at the end story-wise of Act 2, and people are saying the story of Act 3 is short, but then all the side content is unlocked and you can play it, correct?
Correct. Sound good?
So I guess we have to see then how it's going to go. You know, I definitely want to see it end, but I don't want to skip a bunch of stuff, you know? I don't know.
I don't know. Again, this is just solving puzzles the game. Because he's played it for over 40 hours, all of the intrigue about the true ending or whatever the fuck he's still going after is irrelevant to 90% of the audience. They don't remember. They're not interested. You're just background noise.
Hold on, because a couple troll tips here. I'm just ignoring them.
And most people don't give money for background noise. I hate to say it. It's a really underappreciated
All right,
realm, I
this is actually pretty insightful. All right, this is pretty insightful. I'm going to read this one. It's a $2 tip anonymous. And although some of this
very real, by the way, very insightful, and it's anonymous. I 100% believe this, of course.
might seem like it may be insulting or trolling, I actually think it's kind of insightful, so I'm going to read it, okay? Let's see it. You guys tell me if you think that this might hold true, okay? I agree. Your passion came through during the Soy Code End playthrough, or Sweet Code End playthrough. I keep forgetting how to pronounce it.
Who gives a
You
shit?
had knowledge and a natural charisma. The support directly...
Bro, how am I supposed to believe this is real when he is introing with "you have a natural charisma" when talking about the guy? No fucking way this person's real. I'm not ready to live in that reality if it's true. I have a higher faith than humanity. No way.
correlated with how passionate that you were for that
Very
game and how
passionate.
you connected with it. Your best playthrough in years, in my opinion. Is it fair to say, following this logic, is there maybe a lack of passion or lack of charisma
GPS, King of the Ring is today. You'll be sent there after this.
that's responsible for low support
Don't need to
games,
go
like,
anywhere.
for example,
Just hang
Clare
out.
Obscure. It seems like with a game like Truck Sim, although it sounds like it could be boring on paper, it really allows your spice to come through and the support shows. Maybe it's a lack of personality or passion coming through on low support streams.
Is DSP's American Truck Simulators the most passionate playthroughs he's doing right now? Is he providing his spice there? Is it? I don't know. I don't watch this shit. Please inform me if I'm not knowledgeable on the subject. But as far as I've seen, it's just cringe to the max over there. Is that the spice they want? The tangy style, robust spice?
Well, think of it this way, right? When I'm playing Clare Obscure, all right, there's a plot, and I comment on the plot, but a lot of it is just sitting around watching cutscenes for the plot. And there's not much you can really do about that. That's how the game is unfolded. It's through cutscenes, right? Now, the gameplay is turn-based, and the gameplay requires planning and learning the different play styles of each character, which I've done. Like, I've played with every character in the game, and I've learned their play styles. And I even said this on stream yesterday. I don't think there's a single character in Clare Obscure who I don't like playing with. They all play differently, but they're all very fun to use. So because of that, I'm actually enjoying when the game forces you to use different parties or shuffle the characters around or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Sounds good, dude.
But in regards to the gameplay of Clare Obscure, a lot of it is, okay, here's a new enemy. Let's see what they're going to do. Okay, let me see if I can time this button press to parry. Did I get it or not? Ah, shit, I missed it. Or, oh, I got it perfectly. Nice, shiny, fancy counterattack, right? And maybe that's fun the first or second time you face a new enemy. And maybe it's fun when you're facing a boss.
Right?
But you can't always make that entertaining, right? If I'm facing the same...
Which is why you would try and limit these combat encounters and how frequently you have to see these animations to as little as possible, right? And why you maybe wouldn't do end-level dungeons in the middle of a playthrough when you're vastly underleveled and just slogging it out. It's again, it just loops back to the very obvious answer that he is still not, understanding whatsoever. Thank you, NWO News, for the 5. I really appreciate it. Your 15 years on YouTube shows you're resilient. You used to hate. You use hate to motivate you, and you're the rock face that waves crash against. Craig and Adam are gay. True. Thank you for the 5, NWO News, for such a meaningful style comment there.
same party of enemies for the 5th time, it's not going to be as entertaining as the first time I fought them, right? So maybe it's the style of game, right? Maybe certain games just go better than others. I would counter that, though, with blueprints. And here's why I say
Oh,
that.
we're doing a counter. I need a
actually
fancy
think
animation.
that the blueprints playthrough,
Right.
I have been fully engaged with that game the entirety of the time I've played it.
That is not something I would admit to. That is not a good look. Go watch Blueprint's gameplay and tell me that's a man that's fully engaged. Don't admit to that.
Solving the puzzles, trying to understand the plot, trying to figure out the nuances of each thing that's going on in the game. Like literally every room has had hidden meaning that I didn't understand at first, but we figured that out, right? And it's turned out very positively. I don't know why Blueprints, which had people very excited for it
Right.
early on,
Uh-huh.
why now, while we're at the end of the game, where we're coming to the culmination of the plot lines, the secrets are being finally revealed and the mysteries are being solved.
I'm sorry, did he say the sequits?
Why now, while we're at the end of the game, where we're coming to the culmination of the plot lines, the secrets are being finally revealed and the mysteries are being solved and answered, why now there'd be a falling off?
It's because they don't care anymore. It's because they're uninterested. It's because all of the babble that you fucking spoke during the entire playthrough has completely lost the story on them. They're over it. It's done. Just chalk it up as a loss, brother. No one gives a shit about the true ending anyway. It's been one person asking for this.
Just as engaged with that game now as I was at the beginning of the playthrough, so I don't get it. Okay? So here we go. So now, as you can see, all the toxic losers who I said are just wastes of everyone's time are speaking
All these fucking idiots. These are the people who don't like my playthrough.
up
Idiots.
on Kick, and they can all enjoy their nice big bands right now.
This person's Sidious in chat saying, his chat saying, lengthy games fall off because they get too stretched out in numerous parts. If you're going to commit to one, play it on both streams with no podcasts.
They can all get fucked. Here you go.
Ah, yes, this person agreeing with DSP here, supporting his dipshit narratives. Queen of Hearts saying, I think, Phil, you're right, in the middle of the hump before the floodgates of summer gaming season beginning. Some people might be on vacation and support is low because of that. Ah, yes, of course. It's the game's fault, Phil. Don't worry about it.
Got a few. I'll get more later. Don't worry. Okay.
Oh, he's fucking troll
Sidious
hunting
thinks
now.
that the lengthy games fall off because they're getting stretched
Oh, wait,
out
that's
into
what
too
I
many
said.
parts.
Oh, I read that.
Perhaps doing entire days of the same game would work. But again, I understand what you're saying, Sidious. But number one, not everyone can sit here an entire day watching a stream. You have to understand that. Who has an entire free day to watch me play one game all day?
They could just watch it on demand. That's the point of uploading the videos, I thought, right? Anyway, Adam Corona with the 5 saying, have we been here before? Have we heard this rant before? Genuinely feels like I'm going crazy. Seeing Phil have this crisis at least once a month. All the time, dude. It's literally a cycle. This is what we were waiting for, was it not? The DSP crash out over low support? It's inevitable. Every time he's up, he's got to come down.
In addition,
Thank you, Adam Corona, for the 5.
if I
We
do
have
that,
been here.
I will basically turn off the variety audience that I have. I have a variety audience. People tune in for different games at different times. Someone might stick around for Blueprints but not care about Minecraft. Someone might be here for Minecraft but not care about fighting games on Friday. You see what I'm saying? I can't just keep playing the same games nonstop.
But if he played the same games nonstop, right, he would get through them faster. And then this person who shows up every 3 days or so would not show up for a week straight and then would just show up for a week after that, right? What fucking difference does it make? If the games are going to be making the same money, you'd be anyway. I'm not going to fix his
maybe
schedule.
on vacation for Memorial Day. Those kind of things, as much as you might want to try to use those as justifications, they've always been red herring excuses. There is no, oh, there's a holiday. Oh, people are broke right now. It's bullshit. If that were the case, the entire industry would fall apart. Do you understand? No one would be able to stream. No one would make any money. That's just, it's nonsense.
Dude, how dumb do you have to be to understand, or to not understand this concept? That more people are genuinely busy during certain times of the year, even though people can still make money, right? Amazon is more busy in the holiday season than earlier on in the season, but they're still in business year round. Isn't that crazy? But a lot of it is very busy during the holidays. It's kind of like that for everyone at some point in the year.
There's no, oh, well, because don't you know that people were waiting for their tax breaks to come in and then they're going to support you? That's not bullshit. People have money to support what they like, and they will. There's got to be a correlation. That's not, oh, just it's a holiday or something. That's nonsense.
All right, so then they don't like what you're doing. Problem solved. Moving on.
Because then you're telling me,
That's the
oh,
answer.
every single streamer can't make any money this week because it was Memorial Day. That sounds like bullshit to me.
And it's like, if this is the case, he's fighting against this argument that literally only works for this one weekend where he did have an issue. That could actually be a very good explanation in it, at least for a part of it. But he's not even willing to accept that. I'm not giving a sandwich shop
Well,
analogy.
thanks, Hyperfixate, for a $2 super chat. I'm definitely not reading what you just
I'm
said.
not very good
but
at
I
them on the
appreciate the
fly,
support.
I have to admit.
Well, let's see.
My brain doesn't think in sandwich shop.
got a tip here, but-
It's actually really odd that his does so rapidly. Like that is genuinely weird for him to be able to do, is always think in sandwiches. It's not natural to me.
I don't know. Let's take a look. What is going on with my screen here? Stop that. Annoying me. So a $2 tipper says, a lot of these guys are conditioned watching This Is How You Don't Play. And so if you show a smidgen of competency in a game, they say your gameplay sucks. You can see it in the chat when you play fighting games and you're going on a winning streak. Suddenly LARPers are asking you to go back to Street Fighter 6 when you're playing this new collection. You're right. Why do they want Street Fighter 6? Because I don't like it, because I find it boring, and because I don't spend enough time on it to beat up the scrubs. When I'm playing this new collection and I'm actually doing well, oh, that's horrible. That's boring. No, it's not boring. I'm doing well and you're just a loser.
Could it also possibly be that people are less interested in classic fighting games because they look and feel more primitive? This is an opinion, okay? This is I'm not gonna die on this hill, but you get what I'm saying. Could it genuinely just be that people have a different interest when it comes to retro fighting games? That they have a different interest level in it? I would think so, but according to DSP, no. You have to feel exactly how he feels on these fighting games, or you're a fucking idiot troll. And Steezemaster with the 2, thank you so much, saying nobody else has to do this. The correlation is you. You're meaning to tell me that DSP's problems originate from himself? That's a crazy theory.
Okay,
Thank
you don't like the fact
Steezemaster.
that I'm good at games, okay? Face it, I'm actually good at some games, okay? Not all of them. Most of them I do suck at. Old school fighting games, I'm really good at. Some modern games, Clare Obscure, I'm actually really good at it. The parrying, I've done exceptionally well. I beat a level 70 dungeon when I went in at like level 30, okay? I'm actually good at the game. Too bad that you can't accept that. Doom the Dark Ages, I actually did not suck at. Now, I'm not saying I was good at it, because
He did suck at it. We watched some of those clips. If those clips exist of you suck at Doom, period. That's the end of the sentence. If your gameplay looked like that, regardless of how your other gameplay looked, you suck at Doom, period. That's the end of the sentence.
wasn't. But I actually did not suck at that game. It doesn't matter how many mouth-drooling idiots watched a meme on the internet thinking that, because they're mouth-drooling idiots, I'm actually not bad at Doom the Dark Ages. It doesn't matter what your meme is and what your narrative is that you push. You're still fucking wrong. It doesn't matter how many idiotic, cackling morons are around you. You're
That's
still
you guys.
wrong.
That's you.
And the smart people look at you from the outside and say, wow, the masses really are getting dumber by the fucking day. I'm not actually bad at every game.
All of these high IQ, big-brained intellectuals that love the guy are looking down at you, these sheeple that think the guy sucks at the game you're literally watching him play. And they're like, how could they believe the actual footage in front of their eyes, these fucking idiots? Don't they know that the narrative is thus and that DSP is a god? Of course that's reality. Doesn't it sound real?
There's nothing that you can do about it. Kiss my ass. Thanks for the $2 tip, whoever that was, because it was anonymous.
It's a $2 tip. Sounds good, dude. And of course, this is not the end, because obviously we did not actually get an answer there. Nothing of substance was actually discussed or garnered. So we did pretty much.
Let me tell you something, brother.
did pretty much the same thing the following day. Big ups to Snort Hogan for cutting this whole thing out for me. Big ups, brother.
That we
A good enough cut that I didn't feel obligated to trim it down any. We're gonna watch the full thing. So thank you, Snort Hogan. Appreciate it.
Drip, snort. I got the drip. Go.
Okay, so anyway, no podcast tomorrow. That means that we need to finish up all of our discussions today. And we have one big
We have to finish our discussions?
no podcast tomorrow. That means that we need to finish up all of our discussions today.
This is a gameplay fucking channel, dude. What do you mean we have to finish our discussions? We're having a dialogue?
And we have one big discussion that's going on this week regarding the lengthy playthroughs that I've been doing. In fact, someone leaving an incredibly lengthy comment.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
YouTube,
I punched the shit out of the microphone. That's my bad. My bad.
video yesterday of this show actually left some interesting stats that I didn't even realize. Okay. So just listen to this. What were my 4 longest playthroughs in the last year? Number 1, by far, Fallout 4, the next gen run, which is when I played Fallout 4 last year when they had patched the game to have next gen graphics and upgrades.
You guys remember that? You guys remember when he totally clickbaited all of those idiots online into watching his terrible fucking playthrough? You guys remember when his audience retention on that was like 32 seconds or something?
That one was
I remember
64 parts. It ended up being 63 hours and 32 minutes long, and it lasted 96 days, meaning it took me over 3 months to get through the base game and the DLCs that we played during that base game. Okay?
Crazy to say in 2025, by the way, that it took you 3 months to get through Fallout and the DLCs live for an audience.
What's
Wild.
my second longest playthrough? Well, it depends on what you mean by playthrough, because of a game that I completed, it's actually Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
No fucking way. Another Like a Guy game is up there in longest playthroughs the DSP's done? Ain't that crazy? Isn't it weird how sometimes patterns just come out of nowhere and expose themselves for what they are?
Which
Weird.
lasted 46 hours and 29 minutes over the course of 31 parts, posted across 55 days. So that means it took almost 2 months to complete Pirate Yakuza.
Think about that. And this is exactly what I'm fucking saying. What I'm talking about, how he exponentially, lengthens these games. There's no way these people are actually keeping up with the story beats and progression over 55 days of gameplay. There's no way, man.
If you're talking about my current playthroughs,
Yeah, I know when lengthens isn't a word. Stop.
Underestimating how long these playthroughs are. Are you ready for this? Blueprints, I've currently been playing for 48 days. So over a month and a half, we've been playing Blueprints. During that time period, I've made 29 parts. But the thing is, my video parts are longer now. What I usually do is I do one part, take a break, and then do a second part. But those parts are over an hour long. They used to always be 1 hour long. Now they're like an hour and a half long. So just listen to this. We've done 29 parts of Blueprints, but I have played 47 hours and 58 minutes of Blueprints.
And he's not going to see the issue. 47 out. Dude, I play full length. Thank you, Tyler Dole, for subbing to the channel. Play full length RPGs from beginning to end with side content in less than 47 hours. And this dude is doing fucking puzzles, bro. This is why I said, go spend time with your grandparents. There is nothing to be gained from watching that content that I promise your grandpa isn't interested in doing as well. And it will be more meaningful. I can't stress it enough.
48 hours of gameplay of
Puzzles.
Blueprints already in 29 parts. It didn't seem like that, did it? But it actually is. That means I've played more Blueprints than I even played Pirate Yakuza. But we've played it at an accelerated rate, 48 days versus 55, so it doesn't feel like I've been playing it that long. Now, here's an even more interesting one. You ready? Clare Obscure Expedition 33, which we're continuing today, and I'm going to tell you, as a result of feedback, we're kind of changing the pacing. I'll talk about that in a moment. Clare Obscure Expedition 33. I've been only playing it 33 days, so just a month, okay? In 1 month, I've released 27 parts, and I have played, just listen to this.
Just listen to this, guys. You won't believe it.
44 hours and 55 minutes, so 45 hours of Clare Obscure in 1 month. Again, I think what's happening is no one, including me, is realizing this because I'm making longer parts. Since I'm only doing 2 gameplay videos a day now of each of these longer playthroughs, it seems like I'm only putting out 2 hours, but I'm actually putting out 3 or more, and then you add it together, like, what the? You're really that far in? Yeah, I've played that much of Clare Obscure, if you can.
But he's not that far in. That's the problem. That's the real issue, is that he's not that far in. This is not impressive. People who have been playing this game, you know, regularly, even with full-time jobs, are farther than him. They're done with the game. That's it. That was the end of my thought. My bad. I should have hit play.
Believe it, okay?
Bad etiquette, I guess.
So, now that we're talking about this, I mean, here's basically the schools of thought that have come out of this. If you don't know, if you didn't see yesterday's podcast, in a nutshell, I'm having difficulty figuring out how to tackle longer games. Because right now,
as if that wasn't obvious or anything.
I'm a variety streamer that juggles
Guys, believe it or not, I actually don't know how to progress through games in a reasonable manner. I know this might be shocking to you, despite it being very evident for the past however many years ongoing. This is new information.
bunch of games. At any given moment, I'm usually playing 1 or 2 major playthroughs. I'm usually doing 1 or 2 chill night streams. Sometimes I'm doing kind of an independent thing, an indie game or a horror game or something tossed in. And usually I have a multiplayer element as well, whether that's a fighting game or an FPS game. There's something in there that has multiplayer to it, okay? Balancing all of those, that's how I've actually been successful. I've said my formula and my situation is incredibly different from everyone else's. First of all, I've been around for 17 years.
DSP is unique.
YouTube.
Nobody is like DSP. This is my favorite DSP cope, I think. And I say that a lot, I know. But every time I see one, I'm just so impressed, of course. The insistence on him being different to everybody else all of the time in every capacity, so much so that every idea that anybody else could ever have just immediately will not work for him, and they couldn't understand the complexity or the nuance. And he's going to do whatever he wants. I love to see it every time. Again, why it's so useless to talk to the guy. Looking at the things that he talks about is even useless because, again, they do not add up because you can't even fathom all of the idiosyncrasies that are the guy.
Okay? Not many other people can say that.
It's really
My
a
formula
foolproof
works
defense.
because I appeal to a wider variety of viewers than most other people. Most other people will find their niche, right? Their one thing that they're really good at, and that's what they focus on. I'm the opposite. I'm the jack of all trades. When you come to my streams, you have no clue what I'm going to be doing because I could be doing one of many different things. Now, if you follow my schedule, you'll know when I'm doing the thing you want, and that's why at any given day, you might see a completely different viewership.
But what if the thing that they want, and follow me on this for a second, what if the thing that they want is actually entertaining commentary? When is that on the schedule? I've seen many a DSP post schedule, and never once have I seen entertainment on there. Usually it's just a bunch of games that I could play for myself. And then when you tune into the gameplay, it's not interesting. So when does that start? Thank you, Choopy Speed Bump. And the name is too long for me to read. Thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Speed Bump. Jesus Christ. I true endinged Persona 5 Royal a while back, and recall Dave struggle with the OG. Let's say he's the only person who needed Oya's confidant. I don't know what that means. I've never played Persona 5 or any Persona for that matter. And I struggled to read through that, but I appreciate the 5. Other people know what you're talking about, I promise.
Right? One day I might be playing an RPG and you see one group. The next day I'm playing Street Fighter, you see another group. The next day I'm playing an FPS game and there's a third group. There is definitely carryover.
Dyslexic style. No, I can read, I promise, sometimes.
And that's why I kind of retain around the same viewership every day on stream, but the views on the on-demand videos could go like this. Depending on the game and the genre, the audience can grow or dip. I would argue that RPGs that are super lengthy don't get huge audiences, while more action-based games, more difficulty-based games, and newer AAA playthroughs do see a spike in viewership. So I am very different than most other creators. And when people say to me, "Why?"
And I see these idiots in the chat saying that like there's nothing but bot commentary, or that AI could generate better commentary. Don't look in the chat; those aren't the same person, I promise. Well, guess what, idiot? You're wrong. How were you? The bot would never talk about white is right or whatever during American Truck Simulator. The bot would never call out the scantily clad woman that wasn't scantily clad bathing or washing her clothes in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That would have never have happened. That's the robust spiciness that DSP is offering in his commentary style. So you people in chat are dumb.
I don't get it, because other creators can do this and be successful.
Yeah, the AI would never fire up the slave trade, and that's probably one of DSP's greatest contributions. So you're felted.
That's why I say, yeah, but I'm not other creators. Do you get it? Most other creators started way after me. Okay, they had track records of other people they could follow. They had outlines and blueprints and experience and things, and they did things away that already worked. That doesn't work for me. Things that work for other people will never work for me, because number one,
see, this is what I'm talking about. We that's a concrete sentence. Things that work for other people will not work for me. That's the end of the thought. That is his mentality. This is the excuse that he can pull out whenever he deems it necessary to get out of doing whatever he wants. Like I said, it's a foolproof defense. You can't argue against this.
I am the most clipped person on the internet when it
That's not true.
comes to, oh, let's take every single thing Phil does and turn it into a negative thing out of context.
I'm not convinced that that's even true in its fullness either. There's definitely more clipped people out of context out there than DSP.
Okay? My actual uncut gameplay, on average, probably does anywhere from 300 to 500 views a video, these days.
Hang on. Unless you're considering the clipped out of context to also be the "this is how you don't" plays, in which case maybe that is fucking true. 16 years of "this is how you don't" plays might be the most clipped out of context if you call it that, but I wouldn't. I think that's in context personally.
If it's a good big playthrough, I could get 1,000 views a video. But the clips channels that take everything out of context and literally spin it negatively to lie and slander me get tens of thousands of views a video. So every day,
where is he seeing tens of thousands? Like that's an anomaly. If we're living in reality, if we're legitimately talking about the numbers and the analytics of people who clip DSP, tens of thousands of views, as far as I know, on clips is an anomaly.
when I'm streaming and uploading, I'm literally competing with people who steal my content live and upload it before me. So people who want to see Darkside Phil see it from someone else first. There's no way for me to stop this process.
Yeah. Memology is the only person I think that I recall consistently seeing do those kinds of numbers. DSP just wants to beef with Memology then? This is the Memology rant? Okay.
Incredibly wealthy, so I can hire a team of lawyers to sue those people into oblivion. Well, guess what? I'm not going to become incredibly wealthy, and I'm not going to be able to do that. So instead of saying, oh, Phil should just do what everyone else does, I think it's time for people to wake up and be realistic.
Wake up,
I'm not everyone else. I'm not in the situation of everyone else. It's complete
I'm different. I'm a snowflake.
Complete mass crimes being committed every day.
Mass theft, mass crimes, dude. This is why DSP thinks that he lives in a GTA Online lobby. It's because between the shoplifting at his local stores and you fucking idiots online committing real, fucking crimes against the Geneva Convention, of course he's terrified and panicked all of the time. How could you blame him?
And there's nothing I can do about it.
And there's nothing he could do.
If those channels were not allowed to
agree.
exist, I would be getting all of that viewership. It may not be positive viewership, but I would still be getting those views. I would get more exposure in a more fair way. So it doesn't matter what everyone else does. They literally don't have an army, a community of business trolls who literally steal their content and make money off of it every day.
Go ahead.
So when I hear things like, oh, well, so-and-so can just play a game nonstop and not quit it for 2 weeks. Why does it work for them and not for you? Because I'm Darkside Phil, one of the most fucked with people on the internet, and until you realize that, nothing you say has any validity.
But we're drawing the line at most fucked with as people say negative things about me online, though, right? That's actually where this 43-year-old grown man is willing to draw the line at being fucked with, is that people call him names on the internet because they don't like his content. I'm not willing to draw it there. I don't think that that's the line in the sand that I want to agree to. So I disagree fundamentally.
Period. Okay?
Yeah, army of trolls run by business trolls. Of course, dude. Of course. That's you, idiot.
Basically, what I'm seeing is a couple of different schools of thought. Some people are saying,
I don't mean to keep calling you guys dumb.
Just
the
skip
guy's
all lengthy
contagious.
games, all right? Now, listen, I could do that. I could become a guy that sadly just doesn't play any more RPGs. Because RPGs
God.
are lengthy.
Yes.
I'll never get through one.
Yes.
I'll never play a visual novel.
That's what we need.
I'll never play any game that's like longer than 20 hours. Because anything that's longer than 20 hours is going to take me over a month to beat. Get it? Doom was the exception, because with Doom the Dark Ages, I literally made my schedule play it every day so we could beat it just a little over a week. And that one I think did fine for what it was. But you notice that when I played Doom, I wasn't playing a lot of any of the other games that I was playing.
Okay, so in accordance to what DSP just admitted himself, he tried a strategy with Doom to get through the game faster, and Doom did actually work out well. And all he has to say is that, and you'll notice I didn't play other games while I did that. Well, if the game worked out and nobody was really complaining, as he's told the story so far, what fucking difference does it make? Who cares? If it worked, it worked for a reason, right? You would think. Thank you, Manga K De Niro, for the 20 SEK. I really appreciate it. Saying big ups, business troll. Well, I'm glad that I could be a business troll. I'm always happy to get a new title when possible. You can't wear enough hats, as they say.
You know, Clare Obscure, Blueprints, they all took a back seat. You see what I'm saying? So the way I see it is, do I skip all RPGs and all lengthy games? Because they're going to take too long and you lose the audience over time. Okay? Another school of thought.
Okay, so he just presented an idea that sounds like it would solve the problem, but we've decided to go with a different idea anyway. Here's another idea.
When you play a lengthy playthrough, a game that you know has a ton of content, okay?
Right.
Try to focus on the story. And that's a big departure. That's a big departure for me. Because remember, I used to do that ages ago when I was a YouTuber that was just on demand.
No, see, and again, the same mentality the following day. Nothing has changed. This is focus on the story does not mean exclusively play the story. He is conflating two entirely different thoughts.
Okay. Sadly, what was I going to say? Sadly, with that, I got distracted by someone in the chat. I'm sorry. What was I saying?
I'm glad that we had to get all of these discussions out of the way. They're going really well. He doesn't even remember what we're talking about.
I got distracted by you guys in chat, and I lost my train of thought completely. I got to get back on track. What was I saying?
It's unlocked by chat. Like, Grandpa, try and remember.
All games that stare directly at the camera for 8 hours a day? Well, that's interesting.
Actually just sitting in silence while he's waiting for the chat to tell him what he was talking about.
So what I could do is go back to who I was as an old YouTuber. Who was I as an old YouTuber? Well, before I even live streamed, I just made on-demand videos, and here was my objective.
He could have at least have talked about something else in the meantime. Actually just waiting in silence is crazy.
Objective. Buy a game, play it as quickly as humanly possible. Doesn't matter how much content I cover, how many missions I do. All I'm trying to do is beat the game as quickly as I can. And once it's done, review it, package it up, return it to GameStop to get my money back. Not really return. What it was the trade-in system back then. If you traded in multiple games quickly, you got like a giant boost, okay?
Hey, you guys want to know how we could make more progress in these video games faster? We could not repeat the exact same story an entirely second time the following day to the same group of people. That is a great way to make progress faster. Stop repeating yourself for 10, 20 minutes at a time.
And then on to the next game. Back in the day, I was known as the gaming YouTuber who went through games so quickly that within 1 or 2 days of release, you could watch my whole playthrough, enjoy the game, know if you liked it or not, and buy it for yourself if you liked it, or skip it if you didn't.
That's a crazy title compared to Mr. New Playthrough. I think that one rolls off the tongue way better than... What was that? What were you known as?
Who went through game system back then. If you traded in multiple games quickly, you got like a giant boost, okay?
Right. What's this new title?
Back in the day, I was known as the gaming YouTuber who went through games so quickly
All
Now,
right.
within 1 or 2 days of release, you could watch my whole playthrough, enjoy the game, know if you liked it or not, and buy it for yourself if you liked it, or skip it if you didn't.
What is the acronym on that title? Just if you guys are keeping track, I'm not doing that.
I was used as
Let me know if you're willing to rewind.
That was the purpose of DSP gaming back in the day. But over time, that changed. People told me they didn't want that anymore. That making playthroughs that are rushed and only focusing on story, sadly, skips most of the meaningful content of the game. How can you truly judge a game if it's good or not if you skipped all the side missions and all the challenging content and only streamlined the story?
Right.
So people told me, Phil, you're a dinosaur. Phil, your model's outdated. You need to change and update with the times. Everyone today is becoming interactive. Everyone does the side content, talks with their audience. You got to change. So I did. In the last 10 years, I completely changed my model to now be interactive, side content, shout outs, talking, everything like that. And now the games take a hell of a lot longer to beat.
Well, they shouldn't be taking longer because you're doing shout outs. That should not lengthen the playthrough, as I tried to call it earlier. That shouldn't be the case. The chat interaction and shout outs or whatever should be a minimum if possible. They should not impede on the gameplay unless necessary.
Now everyone says you take too.
I don't know how complicated that is for him to understand. It's almost as if he's never watched gameplay commentary channels before. It's almost as if this isn't a genre of content that he understands to enjoy, if that makes any sort of sense.
long. Your playthroughs are boring because you're doing too much side content. You're over leveled for the main story. So the truth is, the feedback I've gotten led me to where I am today, and now no one likes where I am today. I could have stayed who I was, and then I would have been told, you're a dinosaur, you didn't roll with the times and change.
Right.
And then if I change, you're also wrong. So
Right.
that's the difference between Darkside Phil, DSP Gaming, and other content creators. Right now, if I listened to the feedback, oh, you should just play the same game nonstop and beat it within a week, I would get nonstop feedback. What are you doing? This game sucks. This game's boring. You're killing your business. You're killing your streams. We're not going to come by till you're done with this game. So for
Right.
2 weeks, I'd see no one on stream and everyone would bitch.
Well, but that's because of the hole that he's dug himself, though. He is the person that's cultivated this audience that always expects to see this ever revolving door of video games. But that makes it so it's beholden onto him to change the video games and ensure that they are entertaining for the audience that he has cultivated in the style in which they expect it to be presented. That's on him. There is no complaining to the audience about this. This is the hole that he's dug himself. This is his business model.
I'm not dumb. I know that no matter what I do, it's not good enough for the peanut gallery on the internet.
That's you, by the way. You're the peanut gallery. I hope none of you have a nut allergen. And JJR has come through with the acronym for his old title, which is, of course, TGY TWW TGSQ TWOO TDOR YC WM WPET GKI YLION ABI FYI YLIOSIIYD. Of course, what a classic title that everyone will remember from the King for all of eternity. Thank you, JJR, for your sacrifice in getting that for us. And thank you, Schwook Dev, for the 5, saying he won't take advice from trolls, but this whole segment is responding to feedback from trolls. Make it make sense. We're not giving these fucking idiot detractors online their clips so that they can make their content while I give them an hour-long rant. Sound good? Sounds good to me, dude.
Because I've been doing this for 17 years. I've changed tons of times, and it's still
Thank
never
you.
good enough.
To the
So that's why,
Schwook
again,
Dev.
I don't listen. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this bullshit.
I believe
People
that is how
demanding
it's
things
pronounced, Benetton. He told me in a chat one time, and I think I remembered it correctly.
that I know won't work because I've already changed, right? So here's the truth, is I don't think that there is a simple solution to anything, but when it comes to particular playthroughs, we may have to make decisions. For example, as of today, I'm making
Right.
the decision, we're going to try to get through the story of Clare Obscure, all right? At this point, even though it's going to be insanely tempting to do the side content, because we've passed by a lot of it, we see it, we're like, man, I wish I could do it. You know it's going to unlock. I think we're just going to have to focus on the story. Let's get to nearly the end.
But why is it so tempting to him if he's already over-leveled for the areas he's playing in? I don't understand this mentality. Maybe I'm not a real gamer, but if your audience doesn't want to see it, and there's not going to be any sort of actual storyline progression in it, whether it be a side storyline or a main, and you're already over leveled, what is the point of the side content? Aside, maybe there's a special item, but I would imagine you don't need it that over level. I just don't understand.
And then before we beat the game, decide do we want to go back and do it or not, depending on how many people are showing up, how many people are engaging, and how many people are supporting.
And Redbird is right. All of this over one slow day. Absolutely, dude. This is it though. This is his business. He has to do this, or Cat can't get her DoorDash, and you know you don't want that.
If sadly we get to this end of the game and no one cares, then I guess we're done with the game, and that sucks because I want to keep playing. I want you guys to understand I love this game and I want to get as much out of it as I can because I'm having such a good time. But that doesn't necessarily translate into what viewers want and what's good for business. And this is a problem. People say things like, Phil, you should just do what you want to do. You should just do what you enjoy and do what you love, and that passion will come through and you'll be successful. That's not always the case. Not always. People say to me these days, why do you keep playing Yakuza games? Don't you know they don't do well? Because I like...
Man, I've been asking that for a long time now. Before, like a guy, I was asking why we were playing Yakuza games.
I like them. So I still play them. Oh, well, that's a horrible decision. Then on the flip side, I get yelled at. Why aren't you playing things you like? Like, wait, what? So that's what I mean. There is no solution with me because the position I've been put into is one.
This is the situation that he's been put into, by the way. Not that he's put himself into as the content creator that dictates his own content and his own schedule. This is the position he's been put into, of course, against his will, and there was nothing he could do.
Of no matter what I do, I'm wrong. The internet has actually been programmed to believe that. Right now, the internet actually thinks I'm terrible at fighting games.
He is terrible in comparison to other players that he typically plays online. Yes. Even if he is winning the majority of his matches, it is very clear when he goes up against people who have as much playtime or as much as experience, he does not compete well. That's true.
I was terrible at Doom the Dark Ages.
The gameplay I watched was indicative of bad gameplay, and there's nothing that you can say that would counteract that. That was bad gameplay on display. He is bad at the game because of it.
I'm terrible at every...
Solid logic, if you ask me. Like, I don't know how much more transparent I can be on expectations, or anybody could be.
FromSoft game. I'm terrible at everything I do because that's what they're told through illegal clips channels. And that's all.
But yeah, you guys got programmed through the illegal clips channels. It was an MK Ultra style experiment, obviously sent out by the government to detract the guy.
That they see, because that's
and you're all a part of it.
Of the algorithm. So when you say, do what this other successful person does, do what this person does, doesn't work for me. I could literally emulate the most popular streamers on the planet. No one would give a shit because I'm Darkside Phil and I'm not in that position.
Nobody wants him to emulate popular streamers, though. That is not the way forward. I don't think that that's the key to success, which is just copy people that are popular. Obviously, he has to do something that works for him, his audience, and specifically the audience that he has and the way they expect the content to be. Just mimicking other people is never going to be the answer, but that's not what people are telling him. People are giving him slight adjustments to his own current content, akin to how somebody else might do it, and he's immediately writing it off and saying that it doesn't work for him. He's built different.
I can't copy anyone else. I'm a unique dude. That's why I've been here 17 years and I'm still here and I'm still successful, but it also means I can't follow the trends and I can't do what everyone else does. It doesn't work for me, okay?
There you go. Like I said, foolproof. Nothing you can do. Akin to saying, you know, my Godzilla has an invulnerable shield that you can't do any damage to, but also I'm firing missiles at your imaginary creature. That's okay. Him on the playground.
I appreciate you saying that, Gars, because some people sometimes are very nice. Like Gar says, no, you are still decent in Street Fighter 6. And other people are like, well, no, you're not that bad at this. No, I know, but that's the point I'm making. No one believes it, though. Like, everyone knows if you actually watch me play fighting games, I'm pretty good at fighting games, right? Everyone can agree there. If you...
Can we all agree? Every time I watch DSP play Street Fighter 6, he's doing nothing but complaining and shirking all of the blame for his poor gameplay onto the game itself. That is, again, not indicative of good gameplay or a skilled player. It's just not. That's what the footage shows. How can you argue any different?
You've watched me play fighting games. instead of just watching the clips.
Yeah, at best, he's okay at fighting games, but when put up against people who genuinely play the game regularly, he cannot compete, and that's why he's so upset with pattern gameplay or master rank scrubs or whatever.
Channels. You know, Phil's actually pretty good at fighters, has insight into them, has good knowledge of them, and should be listened to when it comes to fighters because he knows what he's talking about. But most people don't know that because they don't watch my content. Get it? They watch other people's clips channels. So there you go. Same thing with Doom. I was not bad at Doom the Dark Ages. I wasn't great, but I wasn't terrible at all.
Yeah,
Watch the playthrough.
sure.
Very few times did I even have difficulty. Maybe 2 challenge rooms really pissed me off. Outside of that, I cruised through the game on the harder difficulty. Wasn't a problem.
So in the 2 hardest challenge rooms, you struggled. So I guess technically he would be right. He is normal style at that game for the most part. But there were definitely sections, like we saw earlier on Twitter, where he is just not good. He's just not. The gameplay is trash there. In those sections, he's definitely bad at the game. Again, to say otherwise would be denying the evidence of the video.
Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. Today, starting today on this stream, we are going to just go through story content. I'm actually leaving wherever I am because I know I was in the middle. I think we just finished a side content dungeon. We're leaving that, and we're heading straight to the story. So we're going to go right to there's 2 story parts to do that are available. You pick, I'll just pick one. We'll do it. We'll pick the other. We'll do it. And I believe that when you beat both of those, you actually end Act 2. Then we'll be in Act 3. We'll continue the story. We'll keep going until we get to the point of no return. And when we hit that point, then we'll decide, how is the playthrough done? Has things gone well? Are people showing up, engaging, and supporting? Right? And then if they are.
See, and this is, I don't think that this is the fucking answer either. This is so, if you know this is so jarring, I think, as a viewer. This is not the type of atmosphere of gameplay that you would want to see from your fucking content creator. You don't want somebody that is actively always assessing how the gameplay is doing in terms of what content they should and shouldn't do. That, like, you don't, even if you're doing this, you don't need to admit this to the audience. This doesn't need to be something that they're in on. I personally don't like this. I think this is an awful look.
Well, then we'll spend more time and we'll go back and we'll do all the side content that unlocked that's challenging and fun to do. But if the playthrough's dead, then it's dead. And we just finished the story and we're done. We've already played 47 hours of Clare Obscure in a month. I've loved every moment. It's definitely going to be one of my Game of the Year contenders. It's sad that, sadly, people won't allow me to play it at my own pace and enjoy it.
But that's not his, that's my own pace usually doesn't mean 3 times longer than every other streamer. I mean, it's sad that I guess that you can't play the game how you want to play it, but when you're taking 3 times this long and you still expect people to give a shit for the entire thing, like all of the sympathy that someone could have for you, which they wouldn't because you're the guy, is gone. All of it. Nobody gives a shit, or they shouldn't. A hole that he's dug himself.
Right? And you have people who say, oh, well, it's because of this. You should have played it at a harder difficulty. You should have done this. You should have done that. Please.
And please keep in mind that the reason that DSP is even a content creator, and the reason that he loves it so much, is because he's his own boss that makes his own schedule, that determines what he wants to play, when he wants to play it, and nobody can tell him what to do. But this is what he's admitting to right now on the pre-stream. This is what he's telling everybody. This has to be the truth, or he is objectively lying to his audience. One way or another, he's lying. Is he his own boss that does whatever he wants? Or is he beholden to the audience that he's built? Well, riddle me fucking that.
Please bite me. There's always an excuse why DSP isn't good enough. It doesn't matter what difficulty I play a game at. Look what happened with Doom. I played it on the harder difficulty. Phil, you still suck. So fuck off. No one cares. Really. No one cares about every little silly, stupid gripe you have about Darkside Phil. You all don't matter. What matters is those who actually show up and engage and support with my raw content here on the channel. Not the clips, not the consensus of me on the internet. All of that is white noise that doesn't matter. That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. It doesn't matter about anything outside of what's broadcast or uploaded to this channel. None of it matters to me. It doesn't affect me in the least, positively or negatively. I just need to find enough people to come for the core content to watch and engage and support.
The core content.
And then
that's what we're looking for.
Right? And that's why a lot of these streams are doing well. And I'm happy for that.
That's great. This is, this is the exact type of mentality I think the DSP should always have. I just think that he should have it quietly, like so quiet that it's almost internal. Maybe it is internal that he thinks these things, and then just not do these segments where he seethes and comes up with a million copes on as to why people aren't giving him money. I think that would be an improvement. I think that's the way forward. Is that option 4? Is that pathway 4 or whatever he was calling it? Telltale Fan with the 5. Thank you so much. Saying what Phil doesn't seem to understand is that he keeps saying that nobody cares, yet he goes on a 40-minute rant on those small nonsensical comments. Exactly. Nobody gives a shit, but it's a 40-minute rant, which I guess you could say the same thing when I say it. So no, I disagree now. Thank you, Telltale Fan.
Well, it does upset me when I'm genuinely enjoying a game and having a great time with it, and it's not resonating with the audience for some reason, okay? And that's what's happening right now with Clare Obscure. When we played it 2 days ago, everyone quit the stream. We had less than 150 viewers on YouTube, and I only made 37 bucks in support for a over 4-hour gameplay segment.
150 viewers for DSP is like, and I'm not to flex viewership or anything, but you guys know, like back in the day, at least even when I started watching, the guy had at least 700 people on every single stream he did. There was 700 people, 1,000 people on his Twitch chat. I remember. And 150 people for 4 hours of gameplay. What a fall from grace. Jesus.
That's terrible. Okay, straight up. That's terrible. That's one of the worst streams I've ever done. And it really sucks. And there's nothing I can do about that. I can't make people enjoy the game as much as I am. So all I can do now is say, all right, fine. We're just going to streamline it. We're just going to go through the story and we'll see what happens and go from there. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. If people show up, engage in support for Clare Obscure in the story we're about to do, and they support it, I will play it longer. I will do the side content, which I want to do. I want to be challenged. I want to have to parry. I want to have to do all this stuff and not just steamroll through a game. But I got to have people buy into it. I can't just be doing it for myself.
Okay, so we're literally looking for a buy-in. That was his words, not mine. Sure. Yeah, of course. I need your buy-in. But this is such a weird way to set this up, because now you've put your own audience in position that they can't support the game, right? If they just wanted him to do the story. The people that he is trying to appeal to in the way that he's changing his gameplay format are the people that are now not supposed to tip, because if they tip during the gameplay, he's going to take it as they want more. You see how this is exactly counterproductive to what he's looking for? You see how this doesn't make any sort of fucking sense? And why assessing this in the way that he is publicly is just not the way to do it?
You know what I mean? So let's see how it goes starting today. How will this stream go? We're about to find out. Okay? Shout out to Soul Potato 07, who's been a member for 24 months. He says, how are you? I'm personally good. I'm actually in a pretty good mood. I'm excited because I get to play Clare Obscure. We're going to try Night Rain tonight. The next few weeks are going to be insane. We've got
going to be super
the launch
crazy.
Of the Switch 2.
Of course.
Updates in Street Fighter.
Everybody is super excited about the Switch 2. You're all buying one. Everybody in the world is going to pay $80 for Mario Kart, and you're going to like it.
6.
Sound
Summer
good?
Game Fest, Xbox Gaming Showcase.
Right.
Other things are rumored to happen.
You guys have money on whether or not DSP live streams those events and actually watches them with his audience? Or do you think that he's just going to summarize, quote unquote, during the pre-stream? I really hope he watches them. That's some of my favorite DSP content. When he does live reacts to games he knows nothing about.
Happen right around there. So you're going to have shadow drops and special games being released. Then we've got Mind's Eye, Death Stranding 2. Like, June is insane. June will be absolutely packed with content for gaming. So
and DSP is excited for Death Stranding 2. As I recall, he didn't like the first one, right? It's very weird to me, the games that DSP decides to get excited for when he very clearly did not like the game that came before it, or however the franchise worked out, you know? Very, and I know it's simply to hype up the gameplay so that people are excited to show up and give him money, but it seems so transparent. I'm almost inclined that to think that that's not true, that even he isn't that dumb.
I am 100% excited. All right.
Yeah, it's the new hotness,
Okay.
of course.
Someone tipped $2. He says, please get over your fear of emulation. It's very easy to do, and you can play more classic games that are well established and respected. It'll get more views. Look at the YouTuber, The Professional. First of all,
Yo, shout out The Professional. I believe he's talked about DSP before as a beggar-style individual and how not to make content. I believe that is a professional video. So big ups The Professional.
no matter what I play, it's not going to equate to more views like you think. Again, I'm a unique situation. You got to understand that. Now, it's not that I'm afraid of emulation. Let's be honest. I think some people have this misconception that Phil's afraid that he doesn't know how to do it, and it's not going to work. It's going to crash. All right. There's two factors involved. Factor number one.
Heads up right now. That is a factor. Everybody online says that I'm too scared because something's gonna go wrong and I don't understand it. There's two factors involved. We'll get one of the factors is exactly that. So let's not act like it's not.
I'm the kind of guy that likes to lay out a schedule and say, I'm
Right.
doing this, then, this, then, this, then, this, then, adhere to that schedule
Mhm.
so everyone knows what's going to happen, and then
Right.
be there for it and do that content. Okay? With emulation, I don't know if it's going to work consistently all the time. And sadly, I don't have time to troubleshoot and mess around with tech. I just don't. Look at how
Not
long
time.
it took for me to smooth out my setup when I upgraded in January. Why do you think I was so apprehensive about migrating from my old 10-year PC to the new one? It took like 3-4 months to work all the bugs out of the setup. So now we can consistently stream every day without something turning off. And even now, today, that still happens sometimes, right?
So exactly what the people online were saying is that you're scared to learn a new thing and you're not going to know how to do it and it's going to mess up the streams and it's going to be a mess. That's exactly what they said. And also this changing over from to a new PC and everything not working, once again, unique to DSP. Most people are capable of transferring their OBS setups or replugging in the same fucking cables into a different PC. They're capable of doing that. It's DSP that is the anomaly in the fact that he is incapable of it.
So now imagine I'm trying to get into emulation, and emulation
But
is
somehow this is emulation's fault.
definitely something that's finicky, that you need to tweak per each game and each situation. It's not, oh, here's just an emulator and here's a ROM. Load it in, play.
And I see fucking Penitent Sin in chat saying you download an emulator, you get the ROM and run it. That's it. Well, according to DSP, that's not how it works. Of course, we all know that's pretty much exactly how it works. But DSP has such a unique position and setup going on over there at the Snort Fort that, again, you couldn't even fathom how complex it is. He's got an Eldritch style setup in that way.
For some games it is, yeah, SNES. But for anything past that, there's a lot of things you got to work on.
There's almost nothing you have to work on. You install the software and you set the settings to your system, and then you get the ROMs and play them. All the way up into PS3 emulation, as far as I know, which of course I own every PS3 game under the sun, so emulation is of course cool. As is the case with every console, I own every game.
All right. That's
Right.
number one.
Of course.
I'm not saying it's not viable or it's not feasible. I'm saying, man, it would be tougher because it would mean me having to get savvy on something that I really don't have a lot of time to get savvy on. Or else, every time I go to do emulation, you may have, well, guys, I wanted to play this game today, but it ain't working. Now we got to mess with this for an hour on stream before we can even play, right?
Getting savvy means setting up settings on the software. That's all. That's actually all this means in this scenario. Oh, and getting the controller to work. That's a part of it, I guess, if you have a weird off-brand, which he does now, but he has on-brand, so.
That's number one. Number two, this is the other factor. Emulation
Right.
isn't legal
Right.
unless you already own the game or the rights to the game, etc. Right?
Which I do.
So let's
And all of you do as well, of course. You all own every game that's ever come out physically. So
say, for example,
it seems
people
like
are
the
like, will
guy's
you
the only one
emulate
who
this
has it.
game on PlayStation 1. Sure, but technically it's not legal. Now, I'm not saying that I would get into any kind of problems, but as you know, and I keep explaining this, I've already said it like 3 times on this show today. I am Darkside Phil. I am not
Right.
every other streamer. You understand that?
Right.
I'm not. I'm different because at every waking moment that I do anything, I have tens of thousands of idiots, obsessive losers on the internet stalking me. So if I play emulation, there's
Right.
a very strong chance that
Is
I would
there?
have thousands of people reporting me to various different places saying, hey, did you know that Phil's playing this game on emulation? This could be illegal because he probably doesn't have rights to do it.
Of course they would do that. Obviously. This is a genuine fear that he has. Now, there will be people that do that. Obviously. Like, DSP has to be right in some instances. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Somebody will email Nintendo DSP playing fucking Mario on an emulator. That is going to happen if he does it. But to genuinely be scared of that is so insane. I don't know how he could think he matters that much. I genuinely don't. And if he is that worried, buy the game. Only play games that you are willing to buy. Some of them aren't that expensive. Some of them are. But you make content for a living. That's the solution if you wanted to do it. But to throw your hands up and act as though there's nothing that you can do, you can't do content like everybody else because you're so hated, is kind of wild.
And that could send people after me. That could.
And Penitent Sin is right as well. Just use an emulator and say that it's and don't say it's an emulator. Absolutely, just lie. DSP has no aversion to lying to his audience, to save his family or whatever, to not let you know what's going on behind the scenes. Just lie then. Say, hey guys, I was gifted this thing by a fan. I don't want to show it, and we're going to be playing these games because he gifted them. Thank you so much, anonymous. Big ups behind the scenes, and then you do the thing. There you go. Problem solved. I can't believe I'm actively doing it for the guy. You're welcome.
After my channel, that could send people after, the business at large. There's a lot of risk factors there. And I know you may say, oh, that's just ridiculous. You do understand that when I was going to play GGPO,
right,
which is the way that the fighting game community plays fighting games online,
also known as
Fightcade, there was actually
Fightcade,
people who were like this, like fucking super villains. They were like, well, good thing no one told Phil that you can use an IP sniffer with GGPO, and the moment you match with someone, you get their IP address. And the moment that they got it, they were going to DDoS attack me nonstop so that I couldn't stream.
That is all an assumption on DSP's behalf. Again, I think that would have happened. I think at some point he would have matched with somebody who specifically was going to try and grab his IP. Of course. But he's immediately jumped to the conclusion that they were sitting there like evil villains, obviously, and that they were 100% going to DDoS him as well. I get he has to be careful about these things, but telling it this way is fucking terrible. It's absolutely
to the point where I was going to have to get my cable company to come out here and again,
100 solutions to this as well. VPN very clearly being the cheapest and easiest option, even being free. But of course, he's found a way that he can't do that, of course, because he's once again a unique style individual that needs zero ping in order to play video games.
And because it's not a quick fix with my cable company. Didn't you know that there was an actual employee at my ISP who was resetting my modem on the daily and was changing all the information in the modem and turning on my wireless network to say insulting things about me to my local neighborhood? You're aware of that, right? That's the extent these weirdo losers have gone to mess with me in my life.
And I still don't think I ever saw any absolute concrete information that is true. At least to the extent in which he's saying it is. I don't think I ever saw concrete proof that this person was routinely doing this and it was anything more than changing the names on his Wi-Fi.
So it stands to reason that
and I'm definitely not convinced that it was a DDoS attack during the Side Scrollers interview a year prior to him being privy to this happening in the first place. I'm not buying that for a fucking second.
something that's safe for everyone else,
Retroactively
like playing on
blaming
GGPO,
shit.
Doing emulation streams publicly is not safe for me because these people are fucking nuts. I would not for a second believe that if I did emulation, that they would go to Nintendo, they would go to Sony, they would go to the publisher of the game, they would go to YouTube, they would go to this, that, and they would file false copyright strikes and takedown requests and this and that and try to fuck with me.
Right.
So that's why I really don't mess with emulation. If there was a tried and true, safe, guaranteed way to do it, I'd be okay with it. But everyone knows it is a...
What is a tried and true safe way to emulate? Like, the only way that works is in the case of Fightcade, because running PCSX2 or whatever, it is safe. You just get ROMs from reputable ROM sites, which you guys know where to go. So like in that case, he can't be terrified of anything over there. That doesn't make sense.
Gray area. 99% of people get away with it because no one cares. I'm the guy who'll get screwed because of these people on the internet. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Again, I'm not like everyone else. I can't do what everyone else does to be successful. It doesn't work for me because I'm Darkside Phil.
Obviously.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see here. You cannot find the last podcast.
Oh, is that the one
right
that was
here.
taken down because you
last
told people to
podcast,
jump
right
off the
here.
cliff?
Are
Is that the
long
one?
games viable for playthroughs today? Discuss the level 1 podcast. Yes, from yesterday. It's live. It has over 900 views because people wanted to talk about that topic. It was a hot topic.
It has
So,
900 views, guys. It was a hot topic. I mean, come on.
Live. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to see it. It's live right now. And
A lot of people wanted to see it. All 900 people. Half of them, of course, being trolls.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good, dude. All right. Hang on. We're scanning chat. Luckily,
And
someone
a $3 tip.
someone just tipped. Let's go. Got to pre-read, of course. We got to make sure it's all good.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Not a troll. Oh, it
Listen
might
to
be.
this. This I didn't know about till this moment.
Right. Thank you, Wesley H, for the 17 months and the 60 skulls. Shadow Skeleton Burrito Gang. I love eating burritos. I agree. We're one and the same in that aspect. Thank you.
There's the $3 tip, anonymous tip. Occasionally on a fighting game subreddit, you'll see someone making a post totally distraught at losing to you online, how you're considering quitting the game since they lost to you. Sometimes they even mention watching the detractor vids of you playing, saying said fighting game, and they assume you lose all the time and think you'll be easy. You're way better at fighting games than they give you credit for. Yeah, they're morons. That's what you call those people, morons. Because they.
But is there evidence of this? Have any of you seen this post? Is this something that exists, or is this somebody baiting DSP? Because this doesn't sound real. I've never seen a post like this.
You just believe everything they're told. I'm actually good at fighting games. You have to understand.
But you notice it got him going though. You notice that he's amped and rip roaring ready to start. He wants to talk about this subject.
Understand this. There's other people out there who are considered in the same realm as me that aren't good at fighting games, like LTG. Like he legit sucks. All right.
Right. Of course, we had to drag LTG today.
9% of the time, the reason he wins is because he finds some abusable strategy, easy mode shit day one. After like a few months of a game, he always sucks at them. Okay. So now he tries to play a fighting game and he loses 80-90% of his matches and everyone laughs at him. When I play fighting games, I literally always win more than I lose. Even in games I'm not good at, like Street Fighter 6, I still win more than I lose. I never have a losing night. It's like it rarely happens. In old school fighting games, I dramatically win more than I lose most of the time. There may be an exception, like last time I was trying to play P-Groove, which I don't even know how to use.
Right. Of course.
So I had to basically take my licks trying to learn the groove. But most of the time, if I'm doing something I know about, I dominate in old school fighting games.
He's just so pressed at the idea that people don't genuinely think he's good at games, which is true, by the way. But it's so funny to see how vehemently he will defend this point. This is one of the, much like food, one of the few topics it seems DSP actually can have passion for, is his own defense for his own shitty gameplay. Thank you, Shade Haxor, for the 2, saying John and DSP will always have Brokeback Mountain. Of course. You can't take back Brokeback Mountain. Too special for them. Right.
So
I don't know why we had to name drop LTG either. This seems like a very strange thing to do in defense of yourself. It's just not necessary. This is the unnecessary drama that, of course, DSP is always avoiding.
Yeah, I'm actually good at fighting games. That's the funny part, is idiots on the internet like this moron on KickChat who I just permanently banned don't know that because they don't watch me play fighting games. They watch the clip channels. They watch the negative highlight channels of the rare times when I'm losing a lot and I rage or I get really angry at the netcode or some abusable tactics some scrub is using. And that's what they focus on. And they act like that's the majority of the time I'm playing when it's not. I'm actually winning almost all the time. Go check the track record. You'll find it out. But you actually have to watch the content. Not
But it doesn't even matter if he is winning the majority of the time. The fact that those compilations can be put together every single play session and they're 20 or 30 minutes long at times, that speaks for itself. It doesn't matter what you want to call the reality that you're winning the majority of the time. Good players don't sound like that. Good players don't look like that when they're losing. If that's the case, nobody's going to call you a good player. Thank you, Skycraw, for the 16 months of being a member in the 60 Skulls. Like 1600 down the toilet on WWE Champions, LMAO. Yes, I saw that. That was implied, but that was only for, and I'm putting it on screen now. Thank you, TJ Gamebox. That's only for this fella named Down from the Rafters, who's in second place. That's, of course, not DSP anymore, as he's claimed. So just another stupid troll conspiracy.
Just some no-load loser who steals my content and misrepresents it on the internet. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because again, that's why the FGC doesn't like me, because they group me in with guys like LTG who actually legit suck and don't know that I'm actually good at fighting games. So then the people who play me lose all the time and get fucking upset about it because they don't realize that they lost to someone who's actually good. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
DSP, the best fighting game player.
Now,
fourth place forever, baby.
So for the record, really quickly, okay? Today, Clare Obscure, major stream right after this podcast, focusing solely on story. That's it. We're going to make major story progress today, see how far we can get. I'm hoping to get through Act 2, start Act 3.
You guys remember earlier when I said that he should cut down on repeating himself in order to progress through the games faster and make more content that is good? This is another example of exactly that.
And we'll go from there and see how well we do. Please stick around, engage, and support this stream. Why? We're trying to hit our goals, obviously. We want to hit our goal milestone of 90 goals right now.
See, and then this also goes against the entire concept of the way that he's assessing how to adjust the gameplay, because now these people who are not supposed to be supporting if they are liking the gameplay changes also can't enjoy the support goal, and they can't support that even if they do like the content. There's a lot of just conflicting ideals here. And that's why it's weird that he publicly announces that he's using support as a barometer for the success of the gameplay. It is completely counterproductive to the idea that he's going for.
We're at 86, so we have 4 goals to hit. Once we hit 90, it is DSP Tries It, the How to Train Your Dragon menu from Burger King, including a new Whopper, a new fries side that's kind of supposed to be spicy, a new drink, and a new sundae. And I want to do it. It's going to be great.
We're not watching that. I'm telling you right now, we are not watching 1 second of the food.
Great.
So
it's going to be, I feel, interesting like the Minecraft meal was. Only this time there's actually new products to try rather than just repackaged stuff. So I think it'll be a good one. Let's hit those goals. Let's make it happen. The other factor here is that the 100-goal marathon is coming.
Right.
And, the timeliness of it being next week, you know what I'm saying? Makes sense. I want to hit 100 goals by next week. It's going to be hard to do if we don't even hit 90 goals this week.
And this is exactly why people are not convinced that the $1,600 yesterday is real. And even if it is real, it definitely seems planned and orchestrated in order for DSP to hit the goal exactly when he needed to hit it in order for it to be timely the way he wanted it to be. It's all just very coincidental the way that it works out in his favor. Some call it pig roach luck. Others are not as easily impressed.
So please support the streams. Let's hit the goal on the stream. Even if you don't care about Clare Obscure, please support the podcast before we swap over to the gameplay. All right, can we do that? Please, let's get some support in here. How about our first sub over on Kick today? How about our first membership on YouTube? Let's get some support. All right, so Clare Obscure on this stream. Tonight, Elden Ring Night Reign premiering on the late.
And you guys are saying that it was planned. The guy emailed him beforehand, but I thought that this was my understanding when it happened. Again, I don't have the clip. I'm not polling it. You can't make me. We're gonna talk theory here, I guess. I thought that he read an email from the guy previously, like days before, and it was not saying that he was going to tip him, but it was probably some other slobbering on the knob. But then the 1600 was unrelated. That was my understanding of the events.
stream 6:45 p.m. Tomorrow, there's no podcast. We're going to jump right into gameplay. Around 11:30 a.m., we'll start hanging out for like 15, 20 minutes, and then by noon, we start.
Regardless,
4+
it seems
hours of Elden
pre-planned,
Ring
and I'm
Night
not
Rain.
convinced.
Tomorrow night, Friday Night Fights returns. More Capcom versus SNK2 action. I'm off from streaming on Saturday. When I
That's
return on
today.
Sunday.
For anybody who didn't know what day it was, that's today. We're just going through the schedule. There's nothing to add here. Redbird, thank you so much for the 5, saying, why did you give up making the Phil videos? Just asking. It's a combination of things, for the record, because some people ask in the comments every once in a while. So it's a combination of things. My schedule changed, and then also the entertaining aspects of DSP changed because I don't like the food content. I don't like looking at menus. I don't have anything to say during that. So it just seemed more efficient and worth your guys' time, at least to me, to not make the videos despite enjoying them myself, because I didn't want to force the videos out. I thought it would have made for bad content, so I stopped. That's the explanation. For the record, stop asking in the comments.
More Elden
I'm
Ring Night
kidding.
Rain on the
Okay,
day
thank
stream
you.
and Minecraft on the late stream. Then we see what happens. There's going to be more blueprints, more Clare Obscure, more Minecraft, more American Truck Sim.
Oh,
all
speaking
that
of
stuff
schedule
next week.
segments, that
And
was
of
the
course,
Atlas
next
style
week-
schedule segment.
Well, we'll see, because it really depends on how things go. Switch 2 launch, I would love to do for you. But right now, I'm not sure. All right, we have to see what happens. It's kind of up in the air, depending on how things go.
Everything's up in the air. We got to see. I need more money in order to tell me how I'm supposed to make my content.
Okay.
All right. Got to check our emails, looking for tips. Got to do a
Just wanna
poll.
check on something.
Yep,
Okay.
just had to make
So,
sure I didn't miss
we'll
the
see what
event.
happens in regards to the Switch 2 and the
Yo,
launch.
thank you, Khalifa Al-Balushi, for the 20 gifted. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right now, nothing's a guarantee. So
Super
that's
cool.
why I'm not talking about it. I'll let you know. All right. And we'll go from there. Okay? Cool. Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right.
All
There's
right.
one other major thing I want to talk about today.
One other major thing to talk about. For reference, there's 30 minutes left in this clip here.
Okay. So, as you guys know, since I upgraded my setup and I changed things around, when I go on a break,
Yes.
which is usually either at the end of the podcast or it'll be like after I'm a big chunk into my gameplay and I take a break from when like my wife comes home from work or whatever it may be, I usually will play some clips. The clips that I have are a running playlist.
Oh, okay. I remember this. I genuinely forgot where this was going.
That I've now been using for a couple of years. All right. Some
Right.
of it is newer stuff. Some of it is older stuff. It all depends. Like some of these clips were made only like maybe 6 months ago. Some of them were made in the last couple of months. Some of them are 9 months old. Some of them are several years old. Okay.
Which clips are from a couple of months ago? Because every time I see DSP clips, during the slideshow or not the slideshow, I guess the clip segment when he goes to take a piss, they're always 100 years old. Like we're always watching him fall through the fucking roof in Fallout 4 when it originally came out in 2016 or 2015 or whatever. Those are the ones I see. I fucking wish I saw clips more recently. They at least be more appealing on the eye.
So these clips are fun and funny and highlights of my history. However, I've now been using this playlist for 3-4 months.
Did I see that Kino plans to go head-to-head streaming Switch 2 launch with him? I did not. They don't have the same audience though, so I'm not. I failed to see how that's exactly a head-to-head, but sure. I always appreciate more people shitting on the guy.
Straight, and the clips are getting old. You're seeing the same clips over and over, right? So, what I would like to do is make a new playlist of clips. But what I
Right.
need is your feedback on what things should be clipped. What gameplay moments from famous playthroughs of mine have you enjoyed, right? Thing is, there's only one of me. There's many of you. So you guys will probably have way more ideas and feedback and things than I would ever come up with from the things that I think are notable from my playthroughs over the years. All right?
They're already clipped. Actually, fun fact: the majority of people who watch DSP have already clipped out their favorite moments. They're in "This Is How You Don't" plays. They're in posts like the Doom one that he didn't like, where he shot the barrels in the room. Those are people's favorite parts. That's why they get made. It should be notable to the guy that good clips don't get made of him. That should say something to him about the type of people who watch his content, and that none of them ever really seem to make positive content about him.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to make a thread. Let me show you where it is so you understand how to do this, okay?
Other content creators don't have to beg their fans to make positive edits of them. They don't have to do that. And there's even much smaller creators than DSP don't have to beg for that kind of appreciation from their fans. But DSP does, despite having 200,000 subs on YouTube and being able to do this for the past 17 years now.
So right here, this is DSP Gaming. See it? This is the channel right now on YouTube. This is the community tab. It's funny because it's the community tab, but they don't call it that anymore. They call it posts, okay? So here on the posts tab, I'm going to put up a post. Okay, so here we go.
Oh, thank God.
Hello.
Big up Snort Hogan for this this edit here, because I remember watching this segment live and genuinely being so confused as to why he did not talk for what felt like 5 minutes straight. He said nothing. And I turned my phone over when I turned it back on to see that he's sitting there writing a fucking post for the entire time. So big ups for the edit.
Hello everyone, I am seeking your feedback and input regarding my most funny and notable moments over the years. I currently have a running playlist of highlights that I use for breaks during streams, but it's gotten stale after several months of use. I'd like your feedback on what I should add to keep things fresh. Please respond to this thread with nominations for moments that you find notable and funny. Please include the name of the game or series it's from, timestamp of the moment if you link a video, and a brief explanation of why you think it's funny and should be included. I'll check this thread from time to time, so thanks and good luck. Pretty straightforward, right? Nothing.
Why is there a brief explanation required as to why they think it's funny and should be included? What's up with that? Why do they have to write a paragraph explaining themselves? It seems like a weird request. The comedy in it should be inherent in order to make the cut in the first place. It shouldn't require an explanation. Very odd, very strange kind of move there.
Too crazy or complex. What I want you guys to do
anti-troll measure. I fucking guess, but look, I think it's funny because you fell, and it's him being like shit at a game. Like that's all the troll's gonna write anyway. So I don't get it, man.
To this post and post up links of things that you found funny over the years. A lot of people say, "Hey, Heavy Rain's your best playthrough." Okay, why?
Do they say that? Sorry.
Link a video in Heavy Rain. Give a timestamp. Tell me why that's a funny moment that should be.
Like that's a troll answer. Actually, like the example he's providing is for real a troll meme. That's crazy.
Included. Now I know we're gonna have idiots
right over his head. He doesn't get it.
But that's why we're asking for this information ahead of time so we can review it and actually find good stuff. All right. So hopefully out of this we can get you dozen.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention this in actual detail. The $1,600 got him the marathon. He's going to do a Switch 2 thing. It's next Thursday. He's going to be doing Mario Kart. He's going to try and get to the end of the game, which is, I guess, a new iteration of Rainbow Road, or so he's claimed. I don't even know if that's true. Is that how the game works out? Is he more informed?
And more funny moments.
I know all of you were just dying to know what the event actually was.
Fresh, as opposed to just the same clips over and over and over. All right. So here we go. I just posted it up. That is on the posts tab of the DSP Gaming channel here on YouTube.
Okay.
Please go over there, respond.
I'm going to go over there right now and see what we got.
The more the better. But if you post up dumb shit, like purposefully to insult me or, some horrible thing, expect a nice ban. What is? Because you'll deserve it. And trust me, people will do it. They probably already have. I'm not even kidding. They probably already responded. Okay. All right, guys. So that's the topics that I had to talk about.
So apparently when ALT checked last, there was 5 replies. As of right now, there's 7. And I can tell you right now, the first one I'm seeing is a troll because I saw him in my chat earlier. Felted. The next, the second one I see says "get a job." That's very helpful. Somebody else said that there has never been a funny moment on your stream with 3 yawning emojis. That's 3 out of the 7 responses. Very cool. Very cool. I'm gonna. I want to see specifically the replies or the responses as to why they think this is funny. It's funny because the boss did a last move that killed your whole team, but the boss ended up dying as well. I'm sure that's hilarious. I'm laughing out of context. I'm a sucker for these jokes, but mostly due to how ridiculous that lore in Naruto is to some degree, which is why I found it so funny. Great. I'm glad this was a requirement. I'm moving on from that segment.
If anything, you know, the fact that we are now going to be focusing solely on the story of Clare Obscure.
And for the record, both of those have a heart react from the guy himself. He read them, he hearted them, he loved them. Those clips are probably going to go in. You're going to know what those people were talking about as soon as he gets around to doing that.
I hope that makes sense. I hope that you will stick around for that, and hopefully it's entertaining. If it's not, I'm sorry. I wanted to play the game at my own pace and do side content, but it seems like it's not viable. We've got to get through this game, and hopefully things will turn around. I actually legit hope that today things turn around. We hit the support goal. I can maybe long-term, once we get to the end, actually take my time to go back and do some side content, but if not, I tried. You know,
there is the third reiteration on how the gameplay is going to be changed in this one fucking pre-stream on this one day. 3 times we've explained this now.
Okay. All right. So guys, what would you like to talk about this morning? Do you have any further feedback or follow-up to what we've been talking about? Or you have other topics you'd like to talk about? Please tag me in the chat and we'll go back and forth here with a little bit of conversation. Or any contributions that come in, I will shout out. How about this? Let's get our first sub and first member of the day
right
now.
Yeah, it's begging time.
We got a few tips. Let's get some contributions. All right. Let's also get someone to beat the
Please.
biggest tip being $2.
$2,
right?
too low. These people are broke.
At least, for goodness sake. Okay.
Shout out all my Fiverr
kids. $3
kids.
tip from Star Facts. Not gonna lie, Phil. This sounds like a bad cope. You were lazy every time we give a suggestion.
Bro, the Star Facts is spitting fucking facts. 100%. The guy is fucking lazy. He's lazy. He's fat.
No, it's that you refuse to use your brain to
I
put yourself
apologize
in
if
my
that was
shoes.
loud.
This is a huge problem with the actual new generation of people on this planet. People have grown up now in a generation where they're told you're entitled to everything, instant gratification.
Right.
You're a special snowflake. You're better than everyone.
Right. What has DSP been saying this entire time? He's talking about how he's not receiving instant gratification on the gameplay that's currently on screen, and he's been telling everybody that he's a unique snowflake that is completely different from everybody else, and that's why all of their solutions won't work. This is exactly the description of of him from this day, this exact podcast pre-stream that we've been watching.
I don't know why. I didn't grow up like that.
He didn't grow up like that. That just means that he was made into that he decided to be that on his own volition. He was not born that way. He chose to be a cocksucker.
No one told me that when I was growing up.
Right.
Okay. But everyone seems to feel that way now. On this, all younger people are of this weird entitlement mentality.
All younger people, no exceptions. DSP is being ageist right now. I thought he was an ally. I thought he was a true representative style king. But no, he's just as bigoted. All young people, classic boomer. Thank you, Robert Williams, for the 5. Saying the pre-stream reminds me of 24/7 News, where they have about 45 minutes of news and just loop it for half the day. Which is why people have been telling him for ages that the pre-stream is unnecessary, and why they've been telling him to cut back on it and only do it occasionally or only do it when he has topics. And he said that that's why, or that's what he was going to start doing because he wanted to play more games. He was going to skip the pre-stream once or twice a week or something like that in order to make more time. But then he continued to do pre-streams like this, where he's just flailing about for hours on end, doing and talking about nothing. Thank you for the 5. Robert Williams with a great point, great analogy.
Right? So now it's like, so we made a suggestion and you're not doing it, so you're lazy. No, you made a suggestion. I literally concretely outlined to you why the suggestion doesn't work, because I'm a different case than the other people you're referencing. Oh,
He just said it immediately after calling young people unique snowflakes. He just continued to describe himself as entirely unique and unlike everybody else. You can't write this shit up like this. You just can't.
well, you didn't listen to me, so you're lazy. I don't like you. No, use your fucking brain. Put yourself into my shoes for 10 seconds. Imagine your dark side Phil, and you have to put up with all the shit that I do. And you have all the adversity thrown against you that I have, but somehow you're still persevering because you're not doing these things, right? That's what you need to do. But it seems like there's a whole generation of people that don't have the ability to do that anymore. Instead, it's my way, my way, my way. Oh, you didn't do my way? Wah. Well, that's not how to go through life, because you're not going to be successful.
But it's not a wham style scenario. They just go watch other content creators, and they're giving you, even if they're trolling, even if they are being malicious in it, they're giving you the heads up. Hey, your content's trash. There is other options out there, and if you're not willing to make content that I like, of course, they are inevitably going to go somewhere else. That's what they're informing you of, whether you like it or not. It is helpful. It is useful to the feedback that he needs, that he can't, that can never be satiated, his ever-growing lust for feedback. Thank you, Adam Corona, for the 5, saying, how does it feel being a snowflake, my fellow youths? I'm feeling pretty good, so I guess it feels pretty good, since I'm obligated to feel that way, according to the guy as a youth. And thank you, Chaos is a ladder, for a 10. I appreciate that, saying DSP is not like the other girls. He never has been, and he never will be. And you'll never take that away from him. But also, you're a snowflake and special.
You're going to find yourself weighing quite a lot if you don't listen to what people say. I'm telling you, your suggestions don't work, and I'm factually outlining why.
I'm factually fucking basing this.
That's not laziness.
It's not lazy.
Hey, I've been there, done that. I know what works, what doesn't. Here's the deal. I know that a lot of these things people suggest, sadly, if I emulated something right now, I would have people knocking on my fucking door saying, yo, you broke the law.
Yes, they're literally gonna call the SWAT team because you're emulating. Of course. That's actually a realistic defense for what you're talking about right now, DSP. And even if he doesn't mean it literally, this is just him not actually defending his point. It is not actually proving this person wrong by using comedy in this way.
Get it? I'm different than everyone else. Sucks that I'm in that position, but I'm telling you as concretely as I can that things aren't as simple as you think. You think life is so simple. It's not. Especially for someone like me, life's very complicated, and I have to dance around certain issues and treat things a lot differently than others do.
See, this is what I was talking about earlier. You can't even fathom how complex his situation is. It's out of your realm of understanding. You literally don't have it in you, and you couldn't because you're beneath him. This is what I was trying to tell you guys. It's actually a foolproof defense.
Maybe you don't want to believe it because you're part of that group. Maybe because you're actually part of the group that derides Darkside Phil and makes his life miserable. And you don't want to believe that, right? It ain't so bad for him. Actually, why do you think that I have to do things so differently than everyone else in my life?
So this is painting anybody who doesn't understand this situation, which he himself has said that you couldn't fathom. Anybody who doesn't understand is maybe even potentially the enemy. Maybe they're the villain of this story, and they should be watched and monitored. Of course, they're the problem. Skycraw, thank you so much for the 2, saying, wonder what Dagoth would think of this. I ask myself that a lot. A lot of people wonder what Jesus would do. I wonder what Dagoth would do.
Because of these fuckers, because of these weirdos.
Thank you, Skycraw. I'm glad I can unpause for the sip. Super cool.
Okay.
All right. Asking me if I think DSP is handsome. No.
Zangief says, you might
I
actually
thought
be
he
the
was
first.
fucking frozen. I legitimately thought he was paused, even though the chat was moving and he was so still. I genuinely thought he froze.
Person to get jailed for emulation. The detractors are insane. They send legions of letters and calls to Nintendo and others. It's obvious. I mean, you're right. You're legit right. I believe they would do that.
You're right.
Again,
I already agreed earlier, actually. Unironically, somebody would send something to Nintendo. It's just the way that it has to be.
Morons who say things like victim mentality don't understand what I've actually been through. It's not that I want to be that way. I factually am. Get it? Like, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making my end all be all that. If you don't notice, I don't really bring it up.
I don't really bring it up, you guys. How long have we been here today? Almost 2.5 hours now. At least half of that is me. So at least an hour and 15 is the guy doing exactly that. That's still an insane amount of time for someone who doesn't really bring it up ever, right?
But it's true. It's still happening. If I ignore reality, that would be more crazy than to not. You know what I mean? So
I agree. DSP should stop ignoring reality. True.
it's just people don't want to believe the fact that everything that they've said and done has led to a really toxic, crazy internet movement against me to fuck with my life. But it has, and it's their fault. But they won't take any actual responsibility or blame for it. They refuse that. Oh no, you know, all those videos where you said horrible things that I didn't do, but you said I did them. Didn't you think that would actually turn into something someday? That
What?
not everyone gets the joke or not everyone cares that you're just trying to make a dime, but instead people will go crazy and believe you. And now people actually hate me because you're a disingenuous fool.
So he wants people who watch his content, again, in context, always in context, people watch his content. He wants the people who watch his content and speak on his objective gameplay to take responsibility for his own failings and his own paranoia when it comes to interacting on the internet. That's what he genuinely is asking for. He thinks that it's imperative that anybody who critiques his gameplay or his commentary style ensures that every joke they make is understood in its entirety in the audience. Every single audience member must understand, or they should be held accountable. Like, is that what I'm to understand? That's what we're asking for on the internet. Okay. I don't know why I said internet like that. It came out weird, but yes.
Don't you think that all these people who over the years, over the last decade, who have every single day slandered me should be held accountable?
What?
But they're not.
What? Be held accountable for making jokes of things that you are actually factually doing live on stream? For real? Be held accountable for what?
YouTube allows it. The law doesn't, but the law can only be selectively upheld by those who are rich. That's the truth. The law says all this stuff that people put out about me every day actually is illegal. But the only way to enforce it
Is that what the law says? It says it just like that? Which section does it say that critiquing DSP and talking shit about him is illegal? Just point that out to me in the handbook here. I've got it open. What page is it on?
is for me to be rich.
I would
and
love to
have
read that
lawyers
section.
To slap YouTube and these people with lawsuits. And I'm not rich. So I want you to think about that, how messed up that is. We actually have a system where anyone can say and do whatever they want, and they're perfectly protected unless you're rich. Then you can go after them. If you're not rich, every law doesn't matter because anyone could violate the law and no one cares. There is no one policing the internet for this stuff.
Right. But you notice the ending there. Nobody is policing the internet. That's exactly what he wants, is literal internet police to be upholding the laws of the land on the internet to its maximum, because people say he sucks at games online. Do you know how fucking asinine you have to be in order to think that that's a good idea? Can all of the inflammatory shit that DSP has said about other people online throughout the years, and he's the one that's asking that comments about other people be literally policed and held to the law? That's insane, dude. You don't want that. You might think you want that. I'd think you're dumb then, but you definitely do not.
Pretty messed up. No, you have no idea how the legal system works. You don't.
Once again, you have no idea. Everybody doesn't understand the things that DSP does.
I would have to be very, very affluent to go after anyone for anything. Just a single court case takes thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars and takes sometimes years of time. And that's a single court case. Think about how many people are doing this to me on a daily basis, right?
Sure.
So I could go after the big fish first and then go after the small fries, but I'd have to literally have like endless money, hundreds of thousands of dollars to sue these people. And I don't have it, nor do I have the time. I'm a hard worker, right?
And I know that DSP has received, some pretty heinous threats in the past, and he's definitely been subject to some legitimate vicious trolling, again, in the past. But now, brother, people just say you suck at games and you beg too much. This is not something that would require litigation. There are people who are actually endangered making content online. Sometimes people really do show up to their house and kill them sometimes. That is not DSP's case. We don't need to worry about 43-year-old men's egos being hurt online because they suck at games. That's not where our priorities need to be.
I'm streaming 5 to 6 days a week full time. I don't have time to be sitting around with lawyers and in court.
But he would if he could. He genuinely thinks that would be worth his time if he could do it.
Who'd be on top of the list? Whoever makes the most money. Because that's how you do it. You go after the person who's making the most money on your back, and you take their money, and then you move on to the next, down the list.
And he's already got the plan sorted
Until
out.
finally people realize, oh shit, it's not viable to do this anymore because Phil is actually destroying everyone who does it, and then it ends.
Yes.
But just
he's even in his own scenario, like, and I think this tells you how DSP thinks in all of his scenarios. As he pitches this idea on how the lawsuit would go, even then, there is not even an iota in his mind that he loses one. That something that he says isn't accurate enough to the lawsuit that he's making to have any sort of negative repercussions on him. He is always destroying the trolls. He is always slaying the Hydra. He is the hero in this story, and he will not fail. There's not even an idea of it.
Look, just take a quick look. For
It's
example,
so short-sighted, and I think very telling of character, of course.
well, the whole thing that went down with Billy Mitchell and Carl Jobst, I think is his name. So Carl Jobst, who was a beloved YouTuber for years and years, saying all this stuff about Billy Mitchell. And eventually Billy Mitchell sues Carl Jobst and says, dude, you just can't just say whatever you want on YouTube about me. That's illegal.
Why specifically, he said that you can't tell people or blame me for somebody else's suicide. That specifically was the argument that I believe he won off of. It wasn't Donkey Kong scores. It wasn't saying that Billy Mitchell sucks at video games. That I don't think that's how that suit turned out. If everything that I've heard is accurate.
You have to have actual factual justification for what you're saying, or else you're breaking the law. And Carl Jobst kept going to his audience and saying, well, Billy Mitchell's in the wrong. He lied here, he lied there, finance my court case. He lied here, he lied there, finance my court case. Guess what? He lost his court case because he sat there defaming Billy Mitchell.
But it wasn't specifically just because he said he sucked at games. Like, DSP is so uninformed on the lawsuit that he doesn't understand that the comparison he is making to Billy Mitchell doesn't make sense. It's not an equivalent whatsoever.
Over and over and over and over. So Billy won, and now Carl Jobst owes him a ridiculous amount of money. You know, and that's the case. But look how long that took. Look how long it took for that to go through. That was an ongoing thing for years.
Okay.
Years. And that's one case. That's because Billy Mitchell had his one biggest troll. Okay.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now,
So DSP believes in this so vehemently. He's so passionate that these people should be taken to task. But the idea that it could take multiple years in order for him to stand to his convictions, that's too much. He cannot do that. That's too much time, dude. He's not made of infinite money.
imagine me trying to go after the thousands.
I get it. It makes sense to some extent, but if that's the case, I just wouldn't get on here and speak as passionately as he is about it.
Thousands of people, right? Here we go. Hyperfixate just did a $10 super chat.
I like that he doesn't read Hyperfixate's full name, by the way. I wonder why that's the case.
Billy Mitchell is making a career after suing people who have slandered him. You can do the same. I would start with detractors doxing already, like Alton Cider, who steals your content every day, and then the rest. I don't even know who that is. Okay,
ALT
I
called
literally
out.
don't.
You don't even know who you fucking are, idiot. ALT's reeling downstairs. He's crying. He's seething. He's coping. He's not getting noticed by Senpai.
You're right. There's literally an entire ecosystem.
A bad day in the Insider household for sure.
On YouTube, based on defaming Darkside Phil on a daily basis. Like I said, the Clippers actually get insanely more views than I do.
Shout out
They
for
steal
real,
the content. They will have clips of this podcast on their channels, which is illegal. You can't just clip someone's content before they have a chance to upload it themselves. That's actually against the law.
Okay, but what I'm not a copyright enthusiast, enjoyer, advocate, or however you want to call it. But what specifically does the law say? Because the way that he says it, you can't upload it before he gets the chance to. But if they had the chance to, wouldn't that imply that he also could have had the time? Because you can upload and this is me playing semantic side Phil myself. You can upload videos while you're still live. He could actively stop the recording and upload fucking clips literally during the stream if he wanted to. That's why it's I want personally to hear the actual statute that he's talking about, but he's just going to say whatever, and none of it mattered, of course. Thank you, Adam Corona, for the 5, saying, DSP, I'm not a sensitive snowflake. People on Twitter, man, this guy sucks at Doom. DSP, send these toxic trolls to the gallows. Exactly, dude, exactly. Everything that he hates about other people, he's hypocritical of, because it's always a description of himself at the end of the day.
You can't do it. You can't. Sorry.
Big ups Mechanic Viking for making the stream.
If you waited for me to finish my broadcast, upload the videos myself, and then you clipped from the videos, that's allowed. You legally cannot put content out first as someone is doing it live. It's not allowed. Right now, this work I'm doing is a copywritten work. As it's live broadcasting, it's protected by U.S. copyright law. If you take anything from it, you've broken the law.
But I'm not convinced that DSP is law savvy. I just don't think so. It's not going to happen. I don't, and it's not even just like a vehement disagreement with DSP. I'm just not willing to hear the definition of these laws from somebody that I know isn't quoting them how they are written or with the understanding as they are. It's just a waste of people's time to have this discussion, really.
So anyone who does that, you're in the wrong and can be sued into fucking oblivion at any given moment.
And yes, Yuki
exactly.
Mirai, that's how I'm saying it. All of the clips that people make on Twitch while the Twitch live stream is still going on, is that illegal? Yes, according to the way the DSP has presented the law to us, that all of those are illegal, yes.
They can do it because there's no repercussions, because YouTube doesn't care unless you file a lawsuit. Hence, you need to be affluent in order to actually have a legal defense against this kind of behavior. It's really fucked up.
Super fucked up. They should be put on the block for this. You know, my ancestors are smiling on me. You say the same.
Anyway, I guess Hyperfixate is technically our top super chatter today.
He will not. Put the full name on the board. And you're right, Teeling Soldier. If this is such a slam dunk case, if this is so obvious that even a stupid idiot dunce could do it because it's written so clearly, then he would be making money hand over fist on all of the lawsuits all of the time, and all of these cases would be pro bono. There's a reason that they're not, and it's because in order to prove things like this, it's actually a very intricate process that requires, like he said, a ton of time because it's a hard thing to prove.
Okay.
But like I said, in his scenario, he doesn't see it this way. He's obviously shitting on these idiots, and they were ill-prepared to his godlike lawyer skills.
No, they're not hiding behind fair use. That's what they say, but it's not fair use. You understand that? It's literally not fair use. It doesn't matter how many times they say it is. It's not fair use. They could easily be sued and lose, but they don't get sued. That's why they get away with it. YouTube should have a system where they have...
So this is like genuinely what he thinks the real world should be like. There is no, this is what I'm assuming DSP is asking for. This is actually how he thinks YouTube should operate in the modern day.
Employees, actual humans, who are well versed in the copyright law, where you can say, hey, someone on your site is actually violating copyright law right now. Stop it. And they should look at the case and say, yeah, they are. Shut down the person doing it, shut down their channel, and that'll be the end of it. But YouTube doesn't care. All they care about is their own asses. So the only way they'll ever take any kind of legal action against someone is if you sue them. If you sue them with a lawsuit, then they shut them down.
And I just can't imagine caring about content on the internet that much. Even if it is your business, even if there's money to be made, like this absolute policing of copyright, and it has to be, I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't like that internet. That sounds like a terrible, awful place to be all of the time. What the fuck? Who's asking for that?
So that's it.
And yes, sue them with a lawsuit, Chody Taint, as opposed to suing them with a non-lawsuit, as they typically do.
And I'm not rich, so I can't do that. Someone tipped $2 says, what's your biggest regret as a content creator? And what is something you don't have any regrets for? My biggest regret as a content creator. I would say, well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
There's
guys.
things that I regret.
Back in 2010, when I worked at the helicopter company.
Sad have happened, but I can't control. Okay? I regret back in the day being so brazen, being such a shit talker, and essentially saying things that were irresponsible that I know probably hurt people. All right? You know, when I was starting as a YouTuber, sadly, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't realize that my words had weight and that things that I could say and do could actually hurt other people's feelings, reputations, etc. I didn't.
But how old was he at this time in which he thinks that this is the case? You don't understand that your words have weight and that people listen to the things you say? You were a grown adult. What do you mean? Like, I don't understand how you could live in the world thinking that that is the way that it is, that nothing you say will ever have any sort of impact or repercussions or anything like that. That's not how adults behave, if that makes any sort of sense. You guys are adults, you know.
Get it. I thought the whole thing was a joke. I thought, why would anyone care about DSP making stupid, shitty videos on the internet, right? Now,
this is just the short-sightedness of DSP. This is a failure on his behalf. You shouldn't just be conducting yourself willy-nilly whenever you want, because who's going to care? That's just not an intelligent thing to do. It's exactly as I described it. It's short-sighted.
I realized 17 years later.
Yeah, it does sound exactly like that, One Final Boss. It sounds like iDubbbz learning empathy at the tender age of 30-something. Like that. This isn't something that you should be bragging about. This is not a flex that you realize that you should be behaving yourself and conducting yourself relatively well in places that you go. And it's not a crazy idea. It's not revolutionary in any sort of way.
Those times back in the day when I actually had clout and my words meant things, that I probably said and did things that were pretty harmful because I didn't have anyone to follow. No one had walked before me in those footsteps. I didn't have someone to learn from. So I basically kind of fucked a lot of stuff up.
So because DSP didn't have a one-to-one to actually copy and mimic the entire time, he was incapable of treading his own path in a way that would have done his career any sort of justice or respect. As all of those other content creators that were coming up around the same time that he did managed to do. Like let's not pretend that there weren't other people at the same time who were also coming up on YouTube and, you know, didn't manage to actually have a career and present themselves in a way that was prosperous for the future to come. That's not the case. Okay, the people were successful. They're still successful to this day. DSP is unique in the way that he's destroyed his empire here.
Really, I did. Think about
not saying others didn't, but it's not 100% that they all did.
About how I handled certain things. In regards to relationships, you know, my friendship with John Rambo and how that fell apart, the way I behaved.
The biggest regret, truly, losing our one true love, John Rambo. Our life will never be the same. We still talk about you to this day. Never forgotten.
During that time period, stuff like that, you know, those are my regrets. It's sad that things turned out the way that they did because I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. Now I've learned And in situations and experiences, I know, for example, if I'm ever going to get into a long-term situation with someone, I got to have a contract in place.
Like Kat, you've got to make her sign the you got to make her sign all of the additional prerequisites to the marriage, like the separate beds and the limited physical contact and the mandatory DoorDash. All of these things had to be agreed upon beforehand. This was a lesson learned by John, and that fumbling there, of course.
Firmly agreeing to what everyone
all of
says
course
is the right
jokes,
thing to do
by
in
the way.
situation, so there can be no feelings of, you know, sour grapes at the end of it, right? No one will feel like they're being not appreciated or underpaid or whatever it may be, right?
And I do think it's weird that he has to come up with like pre-arrangements with his friends in order to treat them in a way in which they feel appreciated. Like he should have been more careful, but it shouldn't have had to have ended that way if he just took stock of the way that they were acting with him and the way that you would respectfully treat a friend that is working with you.
That's my problem. Back then, I didn't get it. I thought this was all just a big joke and messing around.
He was taking hours of their time in the summer to film a show, and he didn't pay any of them. He thought this was all just fun and games. I don't know about you guys, but typically adults don't have that much time to dedicate to something that is just fun and games.
And, you know, a lot of the times things got messed up because of that. Okay. So that's probably one of my biggest regrets. One of the things that I'm saddest about, that is not a regret because it's not something that I've done, is the fact that people who ever try to associate with me or be friendly with me, a lot of the times get a lot of harassment from the trolls on the internet. Like, just because someone comes by my stream and says hello and contributes doesn't mean that someone should then now stalk them all over their socials, go to their YouTube channel and post up nasty comments, try to dox and harass them and their family members. And that happens on the regular. I'm not kidding.
That does happen. And to some extent, I would have to agree. But in the other way, you know, you are interacting with the guy. It's kind of a package deal. You get the trolls when you interact with him. You should be more familiar with the people that you interact with and make your decisions more informed, so to speak. So let's not pretend like it's all on the trolls. You do have to think a little bit.
It happens actually on the regular. So that's really messed up. But sadly, that's just nothing that I can really do. Sadly, I'm not doing it. I'm not causing it. That's just the mental illness of people on the internet. Because the truth is, that doesn't affect me at all. I want you to think about that. So someone just happens to come to my stream, hang out with me for a couple of weeks. They're a nice person. They contribute a bit. You go harass them in their own personal life. Okay? How exactly did you affect me?
People in the future will choose not to interact with you because of the way that people who have interacted with you in the past were treated by the general public. It's not really rocket science. There's so many questions that DSP raises that he thinks are like rhetorical dunks on these idiot detractors, when if you just logic them out, if you just, you know, go from beginning to end, it's completely obvious as to how this campaign would work. And he's talking about it on the stream even. So even if that doesn't actually affect him, years later, months later, after he's interacted with these people, you're getting your own segment right now on the pre-stream of him saying that it doesn't matter and didn't affect him, but he's brought it up during the what do you regret in your career segment. Isn't that weird how that worked out?
You didn't, but you still did it. Because these people who do this messed up stuff on the internet, it's not that they're doing it because it makes sense. They're just nuts.
Of course.
They do it because they're so mentally incapacitated from being a real human. They actually feel like, oh, I got a piece of worth or value because I ruined someone's day today. Because I did internet harassment today. I feel special. I'm serious. These people actually feel good when they hurt others. They're broken inside. They're broken on doing good things for themselves. They're actually focused on hurting others and making sure others don't have good things for themselves.
And like, again, this is jumping to massive conclusions about people who cause a little bit of chaos on the internet. like, I'm not going to pretend that every detractor or troll is a paragon of virtue, but you're also not a broken, sad individual who's preying on the downfall of humanity because you said that Derek was a weirdo in DSP's chat, right? You're not a broken individual that needs to be locked up and put into a white coat because you went on a Ptolomeo stream and informed him that DSP is a disgusting, scummy piece of shit. That's not the case. But in DSP's pignatized reality that he's built for himself, that is the case. Every single one of them might as well be a literal representation of a villain.
So it doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, I know this happens. I hear news stories about it every day, and I feel sad, but there's nothing I can do about that because I didn't create that situation, nor can I do anything to solve it or fix it. That's just ill people on the internet doing messed up stuff, you know?
Right. Sure.
Now, what's something that I don't regret at all? Well, I guess the question is,
we got to go into siege mode for things that we don't regret.
like, what do you think it is that I would say there? Because, I mean, what, you know, really, like, I'm curious, like, what you're getting at with that question, that phrasing. Like, I don't regret being someone who does stuff differently. I don't regret the fact that I've persevered despite the fact that everyone tells me I do it the wrong way, yet I'm still here. You know, like, there's a lot of things I could say, but I don't really know what you're getting at with that. You know, it's more about what do
Well, he answered the question then. I don't regret being myself and, you know, going against the trolls and all of these idiots that don't like me. Sure, that was the answer.
you regret, not what you
I don't know why we're trying to read into this, you know, 9,000 layers deep.
don't regret, you know?
I don't regret
Well, let's
beating
see.
my meat on camera. True, true. All right, we're scanning chat. We are not paused, I promise. It's just dead air time. You know, sometimes you got to just
I got
not
a $2
speak.
tip, and this person says, even if people mess with you for doing emulation, others will back you up and support you, saying that's bullshit. You get in trouble for that and defend your right to play emulated games on stream. No, they won't.
I mean, one person would, I'm sure, inevitably. I don't get how that's relevant. This person's
the
dented.
meme. Don't you get it? That's the point I'm making. I can't do the things everyone else does because even though what you're saying makes rational sense, they won't do it anyway. Because making fun of DSP, making Phil the butt of the joke, saying Phil's a horrible person, a horrible gamer, a horrible streamer,
Oh my God.
brings in views and gets money from a group of mentally ill morons.
That's you guys. That's you.
It's proven time and time again. It doesn't even matter who does it. It could be a Joe Nobody. They'll get views, attention, and support for hating on Darkside Phil.
But that follows the content ethos that DSP believes in, which is that if you make content people like, they should support it. People like when they shit on you, DSP, so they support the content. That's the formula couldn't get any more simple, and it aligns with what you believe should be happening. To argue against it is to argue against yourself.
So even though you might say, hey, Phil's in the right, it's more profitable to say, hey, Phil's in the wrong. So that would never happen. I'm serious. It would not. and look, just take a look at Kino Casino.
Right.
They tried to do it differently. They said, oh, look, literally everyone says Phil's always in the wrong because that's what's profitable. So for once, let's actually do opposite day. Let's say Phil's not that bad, Phil's in the right, this and there. And they tried it for a while, and at first it worked, and then within a few months, it stopped working. So they went right into the exact same fucking trope as everybody else.
Because even they could not pretend enough that DSP is entertaining. PPP, the gift of the gab, he does this frequently if you watch the clips or whatever, very frequently can get passionate and argue on the side of things that he doesn't even believe to be true just to play the character. Even he could not make DSP entertaining enough. Even he did not have the wherewithal to continue the bit because DSP sucks that fucking bad. That should be telling. That should be saying something to DSP. That even when their motive was to make DSP look one way, it became too much of a chore, too much of a task to continue.
And it works. You see? No one can actually be an individual when it comes to me, because if they do, they can't be rich and make money off of losers. Because that's all it is. At the end of the day, The vast majority of people who hate on me are just there to milk this crowd. This people who apparently have money and are really dumb and are willing to just hand it over. The vast majority of people who crapped on me don't give a crap about me.
And I don't understand how he could have come to this conclusion, because you have to care about DSP to some extent, I believe, in order to accurately, quote unquote, watch his content and assess it. This sounds incredibly lame and stupid, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you have to care about DSP to some extent, to know the lore, to know when he's lying, to know his character enough for all of this to be stupid enough to interest you. To say that people don't care about DSP, but they're willing to dedicate this amount of time to it, or to garner this kind of audience, is completely insane. It doesn't make any sort of sense logically.
You understand? They crap on me, but they don't actually care about me. They're only doing it to milk a very susceptible, a very gullible audience. I mean, I can't believe that side scrollers did it so much. Again and again and again. Every time they brought me up, the morons would go over there and throw the money. Dude,
once again, people making content that other people agree with, and they supported the content, but DSP is seething because it's not the content he wants supported. That's all this is.
Side scrollers doesn't give a fuck about me at all. As soon as Craig found a way to make different money from a different crowd, he doesn't bring me up anymore. Why does he need to? You see? But they don't
Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, the last time that Craig meaningfully brought up DSP was during their last interaction, where DSP literally rage quit the call with him in his classic ironic slam dunk. If I recall, that's the last meaningful bring up from Craig.
They're so simple.
That seems like a good cap off, a good send off rather for that topic.
Minded, they can't figure this out.
They brought him up last week. Okay, all right, then I'm wrong. Okay, I was wrong. See, I didn't know that he brought him up last week. Why is he still talking about DSP? We're still scanning. We're not paused, I promise. We're looking for more people to yell at. We'll find them. Don't worry. There's always people to yell at in chat. I mean, look at this
hilarious.
guy.
Some troll tipped me $1.
Fucking
and
idiot.
is trying to say that I didn't understand the Billy Mitchell call job situation. Yet everything they just said in their tip, I never literally said anything about on my stream. You're a fucking idiot.
Well, you didn't say any of it because he didn't say any of it because he didn't know any of it. Like, this person was probably explaining how his example is not any way or represent or Jesus Christ, is not in any way close to an apt comparison. And DSP thinks simply because he didn't list any details that this person is wrong. That's not how that works. But
keep your troll dollars.
It's DSP's narrative, so
hilarious. What's up, Cracker Jacks? How you doing?
All right, big ups, Cracker Jacks. Thanks for showing up.
No,
breaking the dead air.
It's like I just said. I can't ever do a successful clips channel. I can't. If there's something that's highlightable in gameplay or on a podcast, yes, that I could do. I could edit that out and put it on my channel, and it'll get a few thousand views, which is a lot more than what my typical video part would get. But I could never actually do my own clips channel because people
can't do it. Nothing I could do because other people obviously
legally clip my content while I'm still broadcasting and have clips before I can make them.
But the clips that they make are out of context detractor clips, DSP. I thought that's why they were stupid and ignorant and dumb or whatever. I thought that's why they were morons. Are you meaning to tell me that the meaningful clips that you would hand pick, that you would take out of your own content, would also be shitty detractor clips that make you look stupid? That would be the only way in which this argument makes any sort of sense, is if he's going to clip the same clips that make him look absolutely fucking stupid. But why would you do that? I thought there was tons of more in-context clips that would be far more worth your audience's time. That should be getting clicks.
When I'm live on a stream, I can't clip myself and make clips. Get it? I have to be offline to make clips. They've already clipped it. So there's no point in having my own clips channel when they've already stolen the content.
Just proving the point that all of DSP's best content is his worst content.
Dan Zach did a $5 super chat, says, "Are you okay, King?" I'm great. I'm great. Everything's fine right now.
I'm
I
great.
just really want this
Look
stream
at
to do
how
well.
good of a time we're having here, guys. We're absolutely super excited to be here. Everybody is loving it. They're liking this. Of course, dude. This is what sane, normal, happy people sound like on a regular basis for an hour. Is just nonstop ranting and screaming at nobody.
This Clare Obscure stream, you know? I want to finish the game and have people actually come by and hang out and do stuff. Have a good time with me with a great game, rather than it being just about what's new or hot or the game that I suffer at or whatever. I want to be able to enjoy myself with games and have people along for the ride who will enjoy and engage and support that effort. And Clare Obscure makes me worried because here we are 47 hours into the game, having a great time, and people have stopped showing up for it.
Damn, doesn't it suck?
Someone just tipped $2, says, speaking of people that harass donators, once I sent a $1.50 super sticker, then I got harassed on my channel for a week. I feel like some of these people really have nothing better to do. It doesn't make me stop donating. I just keep it anonymous, and I support the GOAT of YouTube gaming streamers. Well, thank you. I don't know who that is.
Once again, it's not necessarily a nice thing to click on somebody's public profile and divulge into who they are behind the scenes style, but it is a public profile. You have put up this information despite it not being a nice thing to go and collect, right? You just have to make better decisions. And I'm seeing LARP in chat. That could absolutely be the case, but
certainly not me, but thanks. No, I get it. Like, a lot of people say, oh, anonymous tipper, and they act like it's not real. No, why do you think people anonymously tip? This is exactly why. Because when people do a public super chat, then these idiots go over to their channel and harass them. So a lot of people have stopped doing the super chats and instead they anonymously tip. And it's a good reason that they do, you know? That way they can't be harassed. Really, I don't know if I believe this. Someone tipped me $3 and said the following. I asked ChatGPT to say something nice about you. It said, Phil Burnell, known as DSP Gaming, has shown impressive dedication to content creation over the years. Despite facing a lot of criticism and challenges, he's remained consistent and continues to produce content regularly for his audience. That kind of persistence, especially in a competitive and often harsh online environment, is commendable. It's clear he has a loyal fan base who appreciate his passion for gaming and commentary. It's
amazing that even ChatGPT couldn't really come up with any legitimate positives and had to give the backhanded compliment of, man, DSP, it's impressive that you wake up and you be you every day, because I couldn't do that. Great. Even the robots know that the DSP's only positive trait is that he's stubborn. Stubborn as all hell. Telltale fan, thank you so much for the 5, saying it's pretty scary seeing him go from an hour-long rant to say, I'm good. Y'all just ready to play some video games? That's a big sign of mental illness. Well, he's got to put the character back on to entertain. Come on, dude. He's very clearly a totally robust entertainer who is here to make good, entertaining content. You just sound like a hater. Thank you, Telltale fan, for the 5. Appreciate it.
Like, I'm not saying that I disagree with that statement. I just don't believe that ChatGPT said that. I don't believe that ChatGPT said that at all.
Why? What fucking benefit does it, afford him to not believe that this is ChatGPT? Like, why can't we just go with the fucking bit, man? Just needlessly complicated and irritating to his own audience. For what purpose, man? Just have a good time for 1 second.
That sounds like something a human wrote.
I got the drip go. I got the drip go.
Okay. Thank you all for showing up. That was the stream for today. You will all be sent to Meerkat Mob. Who? Because TBS is not live. I'm sure he's going to be there. Y'all know it's Chiking of the Ring today. He will probably send you to Chiking. Until next week, please have a very safe and robust weekend. Once again, there is not a WPIG 1651 Act the King tomorrow. It's not on. He's taking the day off. I guess Chiking of the Ring is very stressful on the old man. He needs his bed rest, as all old people do. Thank you all for showing up. Very cool. Very awesome. Have a safe weekend once again. Goodbye.